Don't underestimate Nick Chubb. That's the first words I want to be said on this stream. Don't underestimate the power of Nick Chubb. Look, man, sometimes when you don't see Nick Chubb play or you haven't watched him play in a while, it's easy to forget how much of an impact that Nick Chubb has had on things in his run as a Cleveland Brown. But it's been significant, right? A lot of people predicting this team going to go through the basement, going to win 2 games, 3 games. Well, they've never won that little with a healthy Nick Chubb because Nick Chubb does help you win football games. So, yeah, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. It's at home. This is a game the Browns have won under similar circumstances before, as long as they have a healthy Nick Chubb and a healthy Myles Garrett. And the good news for you today is that there's a healthy Nick Chubb and a healthy Myles Garrett on the field today. The Browns' offensive line healthier than it's ever been today. I would not count this team out. Now, obviously, we have weirdness going on at the quarterback position, but that's not new in Nick Chubb's career. We've had weirdness and bad play at the quarterback position pretty much all of Nick Chubb's career as a Cleveland Brown. So if he was able to be helpful to win games in those situations, he's probably going to be helpful to win games in this situation. Now, the interesting thing about the quarterback position today is the backup quarterback for the Cleveland Browns today. See, it's not Jameis Winston. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's interesting. Maybe it's because they have a bunch of QB run plays that they want to put in, and Deshaun doesn't want to run those anymore, so you're going to run them with DTR. I mean, that's a huge red flag there if Deshaun doesn't even want to do that anymore. But maybe it's because DTR earned that backup spot, and if they think he's legitimately better than Jameis Winston, or that's a great sign. Or if they're trying to fast track him, that's a sign that they're going to bench Deshaun sooner than later. But we'll see. Browns getting ready for kickoff here versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
To a man, his teammates told me they're hoping his return will sparkle, that his presence alone can help them clean up what's plagued them thus far. Now, as for the added pressure of that, Chubb admitted to me, yes, there's a little bit of that. But then he said, I'm ready. Spiro?
All right.
So we asked Kevin Stefanski how many
He's getting the ball to start.
Kind of workload. You said, look, we've got a number in mind, but we're ready to adjust based on how Nick feels in the game. But he's been practicing.
All right, Cincinnati going to get the ball first here.
He's ready to go finally for Cleveland.
Yeah, typically there's a bit of a feeling out process of coming back from an injury.
First division game of the year.
But there's something about Chubb, and even watching him in practice, something tells me that that feeling out process is not going to last long. I think he's ready to go.
Chubb's going to have to wait his turn. Cleveland won the toss, take the first, so Cincinnati and Joe Burrow is going to get the football to begin. Dustin Hopkins does the honors.
And a good kick here.
Jones is going to play, but half step inside his own end zone.
Oh, Lord.
Jones, Hopkins, Jones, 1 minute.
Well, not a great start. Yeah, it's a touchdown. Well, we're going to see Nick Chubb now. Now, look, we know here in Cleveland, a hot start is not everything to start the game. We started out similarly as hot versus the New York Giants. Might have been the Browns' worst loss of the season here. So, hot start for Cincinnati. Let's see how the Browns respond to it. That's going to be the more important thing.
Charlie Jones, the second-year wide receiver, kid they took with the 4th-round pick last year, with a 100-yard kick return.
That's on Bubba. Got to figure out how to gaff feel better than that.
For Cincinnati, their first kickoff return for a touchdown in 4 years. And a stadium that was buzzing just a couple of minutes ago has quieted down considerably for an after.
All right.
And the Cincinnati Bengals
Get the ball back.
making their early statement. Back in 30 seconds after this.
There's things that work better together, like your workplace benefits and retirement savings.
Why not? Well, someone said, why let a return happen? Hey, it's not like that was Tyreek Hill returning that kick. That was a regular guy returning that kick for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, like, you wouldn't expect the Browns to be so afraid of this random 4th-round pick to not kick to him. So they made, like, you want to kick to him. It's a difference of like 15 yards sometimes of kicking and not kicking, but you got to do a better job on coverage. Like, that was just poor coverage there by the special teams unit.
100-yard kickoff return touchdown to begin the game by Charlie Jones. Arch, what happened?
Yeah, keep your eye on the key.
It's Tony Brown. He gets far too up. He gets way too far upfield. Nobody's leaking behind. Dustin Hopkins remembers the last time he chased after somebody who scored on the kickoff return. He pulled his hamstring, so he's definitely not on that shit. And it's just what it is. Got to score.
You talk about coming in on the road. The crowd is fired up. Aditi told us about how they feel about Nick Chubb in the building. You want to quiet this. If you could draw it up, how to do it for Cincinnati.
Got to score now.
Hasn't had much of an impact in the pass game. Just one catch on the season, but boy, makes the biggest play of his early career.
Foreman here.
Kick return here. This is Deontay Foreman playing it. Crosses the 20 and out close to the 25-yard line, brought down to 24. So here comes Watson. Here comes Nick Chubb. So he will indeed start the game as the lead back. Archie, just can't overstate the psychological hit that this franchise took when he went down, and how much will his return help Deshaun Watson, who has been off to a nightmare start?
Yes, there's no doubt that Chubb, healthy,
Play action
really
start. Come on.
feeling himself really helps us.
Immediately they go play action.
Good Lord, Deshaun.
Watson goes right to his star back. A little bit off target with that pass.
Good idea to go play action there. I mean, I don't know if something was open downfield. Likely was. There's been stuff. He's the biggest hole of all time on a kick return. Let's get Chubb time. Yeah. Last time they did that concept, I think they did it with Deontay Foreman. They had the backside dig open. He's just not going to see it. He's not that good of a quarterback.
Get this offensive front healthy. But they're still without their Pro Bowl right guard, Wyatt Teller. On second down, they go play action again. Little boot action.
There you go. Good catch, Cedric Tillman. All right, 3rd and short.
That's Cedric Tillman. So again, not a perfect pass from Watson, but got it to Tillman. They pick up 7, tackled on the play.
Jamari Thrash checking in the game here.
How about this Cincinnati defense, Archie? Line group through the first 5 weeks of the season. Last week, got a bunch of their defensive linemen back healthy, and really for the first time played up to their normal level.
Yeah, it's a defense that has really had a hard time stopping the run, and there's no doubt they started the season playing in their 5th and 6th deep up in that defensive line.
First Chubb carry. It's going to be short. They're probably going to, I don't know. They're going to have to punt here.
And I bet this defense is going to start to play much better.
Got his feet tangled up.
If you're on offense, they had a 3rd medium right there, and it looked like Chubb had the hole, but he just got tripped up.
Corey Bajorquez, 3rd in the league in punt average. Jones,
Good tackle.
this time wrapped up. Terrific punt coverage down the field, 47 yards of the punt, and just one on the return. Excellent special teams tackle by Mike Ford.
I mean, I like the philosophy out there. Go play action. Just got to execute better on it. I don't know what was open on that first one where he tried to throw the little hook to Chubb. You got to throw a better ball there by the quarterback. I mean, obvious stuff there. Probably somebody open on the backside of that play because I don't think they were expecting that. I think they did sell out on run. Everybody in the world's expecting you to run the ball the first 2 times he's out there, so I get not doing it, trying to take advantage, get a play action shot over top. And then the run there on 3rd and 3. I mean, it makes sense to try to go run there too. Just didn't get it. Play some defense, get the ball back, keep this game close. Let's try to get some offense going. We knew Nick Chubb wasn't going to break off like a 80-yard touchdown on his first carry. He's going to have to get acclimated to this game a little bit, right? So you want him to get acclimated. If he gets acclimated, he gets comfortable to keep this game close. When you get that point, which I anticipate you probably get it to in like the second quarter, I think you'd be fine here.
Hey.
Yeah, I would love to see what the play action looked like. Because also, like, you're Cincinnati, you got to anticipate that there could be play action there, too.
At Burger King, we
50-50 call.
And that's how it should be done. Hot, juicy, smoky, flame grilled, and made your way. Come experience the flame grilled difference with 2 Whopper Juniors for just $5.
All right, let's go out play some defense. You let him get a free kick return touchdown because you didn't want to play better coverage there. Get some defense going now. Now, what was encouraging last week about the defense is I think you got a lot better play from your defensive line overall, right? I thought that the interior guys, you're just getting more consistent play from them. So that's good. Just want to see that continue.
Recall to protect your home and car. And by BetMGM, the sportsbook board in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly.
Good fucking go.
Long story history between these two franchises as Joe Burrow takes the field for the first time. Went off that right wrist surgery after he went there last November. Statistically, he's on pace for the best season of his career. Incredibly. First and 10 as they begin from their own 21 pitch play here.
There you go. There you go. The Hicks, good job. Missed him.
Of the running game.
Can't even complete a third down, check down. Yeah, man, we know Watson's not good.
Statistically, Archie at the top, just a prolific start to their season through the first
We know.
5 weeks, 230
He sucks.
games in which they lost, including that overtime game against the Ravens last week. But to find a different way to win against the Giants.
Well, look, they played against an aggressive, very talented Giants front. He was under a lot of pressure. 4 sacks last week. They had a 47% pressure rate against this Bengals offense, but they still found a way to win.
All right, got him at third down. Jordan Hicks being back is a big deal, right? This is a team that was down to playing a lot of Devin Bush on defense. So getting Jordan Hicks back cannot be understated. It's a big deal here. Got another super chat. Why do you think they demoted Winston? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why they did that. It could be because they wanted to promote DTR based on what they're seeing behind the scenes. It could be because they have a lot of like quarterback run stuff cooked up for this game. We'll find out.
Man-to-man coverage this season, and that's really been the difference.
Also could have been like with the crowd being a factor. Hold on, pressure here. Nah. All right, got him off the field. 3 and out. Good job, defense. Yeah, or it could be like they knew the crowd could be hostile and they didn't want to put fuel to the fire, I guess, by having Jameis out there. I don't think who's the backup matters, though, when it comes to that element of it. Like, I think whether it's Jameis or DTR, people would rather see them in than Deshaun in at this point.
He had an option in the flat. He's running to that side. You see the tight end wide open, but instead he tries to fit it downfield, and they have to punt.
Ryan Rico, the rookie punter, out of BYU, on for the first time today for the Bengals. High looping punt. Fielding.
Ooh, almost broke through.
He's going to have just outside their.
All right, good field position here. Let's answer back.
10 yards on the return to the 47-yard punt.
Good field position. Let's get Chubb loosed up. Loosen up here. Yeah, I mean, the thing that's been kind of the book on Martin Emerson for a while has been Martin Emerson, much better, much better at guarding the bigger wide receivers than your traditional speedsters. He's just never been a guy who's been strong at that. You know, Martin's not really long speed guy. He's a big, tall, physical corner. And I think what a lot of teams have tried to do is just force him into bad matchups, especially in man coverage, because that takes the Browns out of man coverage. So, you know, it's just some adjustments that the Browns have to make on how they use Martin, how they protect him, make sure he doesn't get put in situations that aren't helpful to him. And honestly, Martin's got to do a better job of holding up in bad situations for him, right? He's got to perform better.
Macy's is here to help you fit.
Good 3-and-out by the defense. Way to hold up. Now we get this Cincinnati defense. Again, bad run defense, not a great defense overall. Let's see what the Browns try to do here.
It's here. Georgia Baby's first beverages all day on CBS Thursday, 8, 7 Central, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
NCIS is all new CBS tomorrow, 9, 8 Central, and streaming Paramount Plus.
A flood of illegals.
All right. We'll see. Bengals aren't some world beaters. They are very beatable. They have one more win than the Browns, right? So, like, they're not that great of a team this year. They've lost to the Patriots, more offensively inept team than the Cleveland Browns. I know they like to say, well, that was the first game. But remember, the Bengals made a whole big deal about getting ready for the first game. And honestly, you look at the first 6 weeks of the season, like, this is kind of who the Bengals are.
Browns offense, first team in more than 2 decades to go to the first 6 games of the season without reaching 300 total yards or eclipsing 18 points in a game. Just crazy to think.
Whoa. Jack Conklin almost got clipped there.
Deshaun Watson, the first drive.
What the fuck is going on with my internet today? I feel like Winston will be the backup if they bench Watson. They want to see more what they have in DTR if they do. Might be the case.
He's wide open in the middle of the field.
Man, the YouTube TV has been acting a fool recently.
A little bit of pressure. They didn't see it here in the first drive of the game, but I have to imagine Kevin Stefanski and his staff see that. So look for the crossing routes here in the next couple series.
There you go. All right, let's run.
That's Watson on target.
And we're in go-for territory right now.
That'll set him up again. Second straight drive. They've got a palatable third down short of their 3rd and 1.
Yeah, much different. And their third down numbers historically poor on third down. And one of the big reasons, again, is because they've had such a long yardage average to go. But so far in this game,
Deontay Foreman, first down. Nice little fullback dive there.
Deontay Foreman starting to put his imprint on this game, playing for 17.
Nice formation here. They got Thrash.
He's lined up as a fullback. A lot of different things in the backfield for the Cincinnati defense to keep their eyes on, and they're able to get Foreman up inside to extend this drive.
Remember, no Jerome Ford today.
Thrash in motion.
So Foreman, especially with the unknown about Nick Chubb, expected to get a lot of run. Here's a little shovel pass to the outside. David Njoku. Football came out, but Njoku marked down. It's
right.
4 to set him up with a 2nd and 6. So David Njoku, 3rd game since returning from that ankle injury that cost him the first 3 games of the season. Remember how good he was last year, Arch? Career year, nearly 900 receiving yards for this Cleveland offense.
Got to get him going.
Somebody to step up, somebody that's dynamic on that side of the ball, somebody that the defense has to keep their eyes on and account for. And without Amari Cooper in this offense, really, you got Jerry Jeudy on the outside, but Njoku has to be that guy that they're able to find mismatches with.
Boston.
All right, nice little game there.
To Nick Chubb, lower on his shoulders.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take about a quarter for Chubb to get comfortable.
So another 3rd and short coming up as we cross the 9-minute mark. The big question, the other thing, Chubb's return, obviously he's been a much better back when they've run under center with the quarterback. They've done more from the shotgun. So does that start to change in terms of the play calling formations from Kevin Stefanski? With Chubb back in the fold. This time Watson from the gun on 3rd and 3.
Good catch. Good catch. Who was that? Atkins. Great catch. Great catch.
Watson had to go low with it. They picked up 5. And they moved the sticks.
Great catch. Just plucked it.
That's one of the first, or maybe one of the only first downs that they've picked up this season. I believe he was 0 for 26 passing as far as picking up 3rd downs in their last 26 first downs. So really a good sign so far this drive.
All right, they're going heavy as hell here.
Short, they're able to pick it up.
Hard count.
Play action for Watson.
Just dump it.
Goes underneath to the check. It's Akins again.
Way to power through, get 7. Offense looks a lot easier right now for this team. Like the level of difficulty for them to get 7 yards on this drive has been significantly lower than what it's felt like at times this season.
By his own standards, so now he's out. Who steps into the void? You got Jerry Jeudy, obviously Elijah Moore, and some of these Cleveland tight ends.
Yeah, Jeudy is second to Cooper with 20 catches, 248 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Wildcat.
Cedric Tillman hasn't really been able to find his way in this offense, but you got to think Jerry Jeudy has to figure a prominent role.
Deep shot. Nah, it wasn't there.
So Kevin Stefanski goes into his
There we go. Trick play there. It wasn't there.
Was not full discipline on the back end. DJ Turner, Geno Stone were there for Cincinnati.
Yeah, you had great discipline, both the quarterback on that side and the free safety.
Yeah, they held up really well to that.
Job by the Cincinnati secondary of making sure that they don't fall for the trick play. Really well done.
2nd straight start for DJ Turner with the devastating injury of Dax Hill going down with the ACL. This time it is.
All right, they're going to kick a field goal here.
Miles Murphy getting there first. And then a gang of his teammates dumping Chubb for a loss of a yard. And on 4th down, Kevin Stefanski is going to send out his kicker, Dustin Hopkins, to try to
kick the field goal. That's fine. That's fine.
This season, again, a lot of that injuries up front, but so far they've been able to hit Nick Chubb or any of the Browns running backs at or behind the line of scrimmage in this game.
Here's Dustin Hopkins, the 11th year kicker. Good snap, good hold.
Ah, he missed it.
Kick, hooking left.
He missed it.
And it is no good.
All right, D-Hop. We might have to start having a conversation, man. We might have to start having a conversation about D-Hop. That's his 3rd miss in, 7 weeks? Yeah, time to start having a conversation. Start to have a conversation about D-Hop. Time might be up. Play some defense here. Look, Chubb's going to warm up probably around the 2nd quarter. Jacob Revise says, "Hey Q, where do you find our next franchise in the draft?"
On-call favorites now.
Thank you for the super chat, Jacob. But yeah, the draft's where you're going to find them. Like, there's really no more proven, time-tested way to find a franchise quarterback than to draft them. What draft that's going to be, I don't know. What player that's going to be, I don't know. If I knew such things, I would immediately send that information to Andrew Berry so the Browns could have a franchise quarterback as soon as possible. But yeah, that's how the Browns going to get their franchise quarterback if they get one, is through the draft. Now, kickers? Did he get... I remember one analyst, kickers aren't players, they're necessities. I don't really care to get into all the kicker sayings. Just you miss that many field goals and you start missing sub 50s. You know, we're going to start looking for other options. This just is what it is. That's how the position works.
In 5G and by Wingstop. Bring the flavor. Order at wingstop.com. Aerial coverage of today's game being provided by Goodyear. Boy, what weather in Cleveland here this weekend. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction last night. American League Championship Series that did not end well for Cleveland. And now the Browns and Bengals. Joe Burrow over the middle. No open gets it to T. Higgins for the first time today. So Joe Burrow, Arch,
hold up here.
The wrist surgery, said he's still working for the full range of motion, but he's been off the charts. Leads the league in passer rating, second in completion percentage, and second in touchdown passes.
Numbers are superb. And what I saw last week was a quarterback that can win any type of game because of the pressure he had going a quick game. And he was 12 of 12, 88 yards. And really, that was the difference last week.
Handoff here to Brown, breaking the initial tackle.
Oh, boy.
Inside the 20, gets all the way down to the 15.
It's bad tackling there. It's a hold. Is it coming back? It's coming back. Hey, it's big. That's big. That is a big hold there. Wow. That is a difference of like 50 yards. Yeah, 28, 38-yard difference there.
No, it's a hole, but that does not take away from the exceptional run from Chase Brown. And really, man, you watch him. This isn't an overpowering run game, Spiro. It's not, what they do best. But he has given them an element now that you really have.
Got to stop letting these guards get to the second level here.
Two safeties and think that you're going to be able to stop this run game. And what that does, when you start to creep up, it opens up the one-on-ones to Chase and Higgins.
There it is.
Zach Moss.
There it is.
First take.
All right, second and what? Second and 13?
Cincinnati run attack that has not been traditionally good. This year tied for the 7th fewest rush yards per game. It would be the 8th straight year in which they have finished in the bottom 12 in the NFL rushing.
Yeah, but let's face it. This offense is going to run through Burrow in the passing game. And so it's a little much to expect them to be a top 10 offense. What you need is a running game that defenses have to respect. If you have a run game that they have to respect, now you can really open up the shots that they really want to hit. That were taken away last year, the way defenses played this offense.
Burrow context of 2nd and 13. Here comes the pressure.
Good defense.
And River covers and Burrow just throws it at the bounds. As they were giving Chase and Darius Smith coming with some heat. 3rd and long.
It's a defense that likes to play man-to-man coverage. So you get man-to-man on the backside, but what they do on the front side, they're going to zone it off and pass it off. You see the corner, the safety, the way they play it. There's nobody underneath. Burrow has a lot of time, but what you also saw on that play, where's the pass rush? You cannot give.
All right, 3rd and 13 here.
But you cannot give Burrow that much time. Eventually,
get him off the field. This would be huge.
And he's going to make you pay. This pass rush has to find a way to get to Burrow faster in this game.
Burrow feels the pocket collapse.
You want to tackle him? You got it. Stop.
To Zach Moss, who's going to be a little bit short of the line to gain, which was just inside the 35. So they pick up 10. Good pressure again by Zadarius Smith. And Zach Taylor leaving his offense on the field.
They're going to go for it.
First thing, you got to be alert for the hard count and make sure that you don't give them a free first down.
It would be the 55-yard attempt from here for the McPherson.
empty formation, and you got Jamar Chase split out all by himself over here to the left side.
Got him. Big turnover. Big turnover. Big turnover. Who got that sack? Shelby Harris. Big. There it is. There it is. Way to hold up, defense.
Making a play to Burrow for a loss of 5.
All right, let's block for Chubb. Let's get him loose. Let's get him loose. That was big. By the way, how many people got in here? 827. Let's get 800 likes. 800 likes right now. Hit that like button, y'all. Don't forget to do that. Hitting the like button makes it easier for people to find the stream. Makes it easier for me to do my job. Make sure y'all hit that like button.
Playing from Quincy's iPhone.
Salute Q. I see why you dislike kickers. It's not that I dislike kickers. It's just I'm very realistic about what a kicker's leash is going to be with the team.
There's no Bluetooth device to this thing.
All right. Let's get some offense going now. And offense hasn't looked as pathetic as we're used to seeing it. So, I mean, that's a good sign, right?
The inside route, and then that allows Shelby Harris to cut right up the gut. Joe Burrow has to pull it down. He doesn't have the quick throw, and then you got the bull rush for the easy sack. So really well done combination of anticipating where Joe Burrow wants to go. You give the guys up front a little bit of time, and Shelby Harris does the rest.
Able to beat Alex Kappa to get that interior pressure that's so vital against Burrow. So Deshaun Watson and this offense back onto the field after the missed long field goal by Hopkins as they begin at their own 42.
There you go, David.
To choke through his second target.
There you go. Way to start first. 2nd and 5 here. 2nd and 4. All right, cool.
Spirit, just for the second or third time today, I just feel like Deshaun Watson's playing it too conservative. You have this right.
Hey, buddy, he's just not going to. Or if you're highlighting a dig and you're telling us Deshaun Watson can throw it, yeah, we know he's not going to do it, though.
Immediate throws that they've had a chance to hit those throws 3 or 4 times already in this game.
I mean, it's at the point to where, like, yeah, man, I almost don't feel like pointing it out anymore because it's like, yeah, he stinks. We know he stinks. He shouldn't be out there. But yeah.
Start to make some of these plays on downfield.
Well, again, you have to give any defense.
You cannot call an offense with the idea of him being better than that. He just isn't.
They'll just play tighter.
Tight. 1-on-1. Got Jalen Darden 1-on-1. Probably going to take a chance on this choice route here on 3rd and short. Nope. Just going to take a sack.
Who has been a monster for this Cincinnati defense.
But look how fast the Trey Hendrickson
The Jed.
Deshaun Watson doesn't have any chance. He just flies and is able to get that sack. And Trey Hendrickson, when you think about it, since last season, Well, now he has 23.5 sacks since last season. That's the second best in the NFL, and he never seems to get any attention.
Yeah, it's just wild how underrated he is. Began the day tied for 5th in the league in sacks.
All right, got him at the 10. Let's play some defense.
Hendricks.
Nah, he ain't have anybody short. There was no quick option there. Jets got to hold up a little bit better in pass pro than that. Yeah. I mean, this is what the offense kind of always looks like. I mean, honestly, Jets been playing better like the last week or so. It's just that was a bad play for him. But it's still Jet, and Jet has a larger overall history that would concern you. You know what I mean? The offense makes me want to cry. All right, man. Got another super chat from fans. Need to start booing. Trust me, they'll start doing it.
By the judges. That's really what they've done. They're so tough on themselves, but you always believe because of Burrow and the offense and really what the defense has been able to do in the last 2 years that they have the chance to do it.
This is Chase on a jet sweep. Look at you showing your sports acumen. Let's go down to Didi.
From the time Zach Taylor has been hired here in Cincinnati, he's talked about staying level, and he told his team just that. He said, the AFC is going to be a mess this year, so you just have to keep running.
Go ahead and pull up, Q. I don't drink during streams. I don't really drink that much anymore, to be honest. Got a stack here on the 2x2 if he runs a route. Yeah, 2x2. That's a hell of a catch. It's a hell of a catch by Higgins.
It's a pickup of 21. Higgins, who missed the first 2 games with that hamstring injury, just a massive lift for this offense.
How good has T. Higgins been? I mean, he led them last week, 7 for 77 yards. And if you think about, 68% of his catches this year have been for first downs. He has been playing lights out.
Burrow goes through his reads.
Got to call a hold there, right?
Underneath to Brown.
Do you think Winston is inactive today because they didn't want the crowd chanting for him to replace Watson? Well, one, I don't think most of the people there even know that Jameis Winston is active or inactive. Not a lot of people pay attention to that kind of stuff, right? That's really stuff that hardcore fans pay attention to. So, like, the idea that that's going to curve down some of the animosity that the fan base has, I don't think that's the case. And this isn't a situation where we really want the backup to play because we're really excited for the backup and the starter is a casualty where that might be something that you would do. This is a situation where everybody just wants the starter to go. Yeah, this is just a situation where everybody wants the starter to go. It doesn't matter who the backup is. As long as a backup exists, people are going to want that guy to play because it's not about the backup. It's about the starter. So, no, I don't think this was some kind of like ploy to try to make Browns fans not be as furious because, one, most people in that stadium not going to really know that Jameis is inactive. Like maybe 20% of the people in that building actually pay attention to who's inactive or not. And then two, even if Jameis is inactive, DTR would be just as popular as Jameis because it's not about Jameis or DTR. It's really just about getting Deshaun out the paint. That's really it. It's really it simple. So say we got saved by the whistle? Well, they knew the clock was going to. So you know what happened there, right? They knew the clock was going to hit 0. So they knew, hey, they have to snap this ball before the quarter ends for it to be a live play. So they just went on the clock. So they knew that it couldn't be an offsides. It's not saved by the whistle. That's just simply paying attention to what's going on there and being present and knowing that the quarter's about to end. So if they're going to snap this ball, they got to snap it at 1. So I'm going to just go on 1.
With VentureLabs, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and get access to over 1,300 airport lounges. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
11 herbs and spices.
Already?
11.
That's right.
Introducing KFC's original recipe tenders made with 11 herbs and spices. Get 3 tenders, fries, and comeback sauce for just $5.
Need a Monday night chuckle? CBS is the place. Traumatized, what's good in your hood?
Hey, neighbor.
We got the neighborhood. Who's the ghost? We got Papa's out. Comedy legends.
I am the master.
And they're all on CBS Monday. Get ready to laugh at CBS. A new season of the neighborhood.
I got to watch that Papa's House one. That's the one with Damon Wayans and his son in there. I got to watch it. Is that on Paramount Plus? See, that's on Paramount Plus.
Northeast Ohio, 65 degrees. CBS tonight, the wait is over. Queen Latifah is back in the Canton season premiere of The Equalizer. Watch it tonight after Tracker on CBS and streaming.
Hey, Chad, are the Equalizer movies good? I've never watched them. Are they good?
Jason Ross, our producer, Mark Brown, our director. Happy to have you with us from Huntington Bank Field here in the Cleveland Lakefront. Start of the second quarter. Ball goes quickly near side to Chase, and he's getting tackled. But look,
Damn, Chase, hell of an effort there.
It appeared to be going down at the line of scrimmage, and Chase letting him hear about it. Let's get our first NFL Today update to New York.
All right, guys. Jordan Love is going to find Tucker Kraft right down the middle, fix it in there before the backside safety can pick it off. That caps off a 13-play, 92-yard drive. Green Bay up 7-3.
All right, Matt, we'll keep tabs on that one. Here's ball.
Nope.
Moving around the pocket, like so good with his feet. Fires over the middle to Higgins.
Hey, got him off the field. Are they going to go for this?
Short. And Burrow was walking over to the sideline, and now Zach Taylor says, stay out there.
Well, you really got to credit Cleveland.
No one's Zach Taylor. He's probably going to run here, right?
There's no quick answers, and that's really what's been Joe Burrow's calling card is being able.
They're going to see Mike Hall out there and run right at him.
Exactly where to go with the football. See how long he's had to hold it so far in this game, and now they got to try and convert one more time on 4th down.
Let's see if they want to play here. Play clock down to 0s.
Nah, they didn't. All right, punt it.
Browns defense
They're
stays
punting.
disciplined. So the Bengals will take the penalty, get their
All right, Browns. Defense is showing up, man. You could not ask for more from your defense than what they've given you to start this game. You could not ask for more.
They haven't been the same statistical unit than it was last year, but so far so good.
Well, they're led, of course, by Myles Garrett up front. They've got talent at linebacker, but really their secondary and their ability to play man-to-man coverage going back to last year is really what this defense has been known for. But today, Spiro, they have yet to play one snap of man-to-man coverage. They did have an all-out blitz, but they've been almost exclusively in zone coverage, and so far the Bengals haven't had an answer.
Jalen Darden signals fair catch here from Rico. And the Browns
All right,
have
man.
tough starting field position from inside their 10-yard line.
All right, Chubb. Let's see if you warmed up.
Nicely done by the rookie Rico. Back in 30 seconds after this.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. CJ Stroud putting up points with my Lowe's.
I know everybody in chat saying like the offense looks lifeless, and maybe I'm just drowned out by like some of the worst offensive performances I've seen in the last 5 years being from this Browns offense, but they look better than they normally do. So, I mean, there's that. At least they're getting a first down like on every drive. Honestly, that's how low the fucking bar is for this offense. Like, I'm just like, yeah, we're getting first downs, you know.
There's the shot.
Doesn't seem completely hopeless.
Cleveland their first points in what has been just a nightmare start to his 8th season in the NFL. Today, 7th game that he is playing. That's the most games that he's played
running with Chubb here.
since 2020. But boy, is he taking his lumps from the fan base here, the media. Desperately looking for some answers. They go play action over the middle, gets it to Chubb. And by far, Nick Chubb's best touch of the day spins his way across the line.
First down. Need at least 2 out of 3 of the teams to play well, not 1 of the 3. Talking about Ohio State or something like that? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. You're talking about the units on the team. Yeah.
Playoffs, and it's kind of part
Yeah.
of the story as well. As we have an injured player on the field.
That is disgusting work to compare Deshaun Watson's first 6 games to what Joe Flacco did. That is such nasty work. Oh my God. Oh no. Hey, they are trying to make, they're like just, right? Like just, like just extra on that. That was nasty work. There was no reason for them to do that. That was absolutely disgusting work. Damn, bro. That was absolutely fucking disgusting. Wow.
Inner peace that he's talked about the last couple of years with everything that's been swirling around him.
Oh, yeah, it's inner peace.
Kevin Stefanski, his teammates, everyone steadfast behind him as they try to help him figure this thing out.
Yeah, you know, it's really tough as a player when you play that you're used to playing at a certain level, and then all of a sudden you're not, and then you just can't find it. And
Got Jerry Jeudy as the fullback. He
you're
slips
definitely
out.
trying to be that guy that you know you have been in the past, but that person doesn't exist anymore.
Watson goes play action.
Oh.
He is lit up on the pass.
It was open.
As that one just squirts out of his hands to
Uh-oh.
Jeudy, and
Is he
Deshaun
hurt?
Watson is still down.
They're going to call the flag.
Joseph Osai.
He's fine. Yeah, roughing the passer.
Leveled. Watson will check the
Roughing the
flag here.
passer.
It's in the offensive backfield. One thing to keep in mind, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is Cleveland's backup today. Jameis Winston is the emergency number 3. So that's Posick.
I mean, let me see the hit again.
6th offensive penalty against Cleveland, March. That is the most of any offensive unit in the NFL.
Okay, so it's on Joel.
Change the call. It's actually Batonio.
But Deshaun Watson took a monster shot from Osai, and I'm sure the crowd, they're wondering why this wasn't called a roughing the passer. You see Osai just as he comes around the corner.
Nah, it's not
he just
roughing.
buries him. It doesn't
Nah, it's
appear
not roughing. That's absolutely
that,
not
you know,
roughing.
He hit him in the area. He took
He just got hit. Yeah.
So that puts them all the way back where they started, 1st and 20. Chubb trying to get some of it back, and he is just barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Jermaine Pratt among the tacklers for Cincinnati. So you had to wonder, what Chubb would look like, Arch. Out since week 2 last year, that devastating injury to his left knee. He's been practicing for 3 weeks. And at his request, he actually asked the coaches to give him 1 day of full contact in practice where the defense really had a chance to take some shots at him. Well, part of what has been this 13-month process to get himself back onto the field. He'll get a breather here on 2nd and 20.
Oh, no.
Watson from his end zone gets it out. On the comebacker, it's Elijah Moore with his.
Yeah, I could see already, right? His first read, his only read on the play really was Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry slips out of his break to start this play, so he wasn't going to find any opportunity there.
Thompson Robinson, who had been the number 3 quarterback through the first 6 weeks of the season, but now he supplants Winston, at least for the moment. But right now, it looks like Deshaun Watson is okay after he took that hard shot a moment ago. 3rd and 17. First time we've seen Pierre Strong. He's the one setback. Watson, there's a flag thrown over the middle. That's the tight end, Akins.
That's going to be back on now.
Well short. The game was out 30. So they pick up only 4. Some of that ugly operational stuff that has plagued this offense.
They're getting Wills for being lined up too far in the backfield. And Wills so far has really had a tough day.
Was he covering? Or was he on?
Trey Hendrickson. Side, that's Osai, get inside, get a shot on Deshaun Watson, and then that penalty there on 3rd and long.
So here's Bojorquez running from right around his 10. Charlie Jones over the kickoff return touchdown to open. But a play from just outside his 20. He's got another nifty return.
All right, stop kicking to this motherfucker.
Streaks across the 40, close
Stop kicking to this motherfucker.
This kid Jones putting himself together all day here in Cleveland. 22 on the return.
All right.
7-0 Cincy.
I mean, look, this offense stinks to start. You put them back behind in their own end zone, they're going to look even worse, and that's what you're getting. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know that. Like, every quarterback who's played in the NFL that looks at film has talked about how Deshaun's not playing well. I don't know how people can debate like that that there's more there or that there's less there, that he's in a hopeless situation. If that were the case, Dan Orlovsky, quarterback protecting ass, would have been out here like, oh no, it's actually not his fault. Look at what he's not getting. Nobody's open. Nah, man, like even the most lenient analysts about quarterback play and giving the quarterback the benefit of the doubt, these people ain't giving Deshaun the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't deserve it, because he's not playing well. It is what it is. Now, would a better quarterback get you out of that jam? Probably not. You're at your own 10. Like, your offense is limited. You haven't been able to run the ball successfully despite having Nick Chubb back this whole game. Like, that's just not a spot that a team performing like the Cleveland Browns, even with the better quarterback, would have had a high chance of succeeding in. But still, you would hope to have executed on more points than what you have now. So far, the defense is keeping you in the game. Maybe Nick Chubb can get warmed up here deep into the second quarter, and your defense can continue to hold up and keep this a low-scoring game.
The NFL on CBS every Sunday at home on the go.
I mean, this defense has really held up nicely despite being put in bad field position situations every time. I mean, this is the third time the Bengals are getting the ball near the 50.
Here, Cleveland Lakefront, look at the first 3 positions for Cincinnati.
Like, this is the third time Cincinnati's gotten the ball there, and they have not gotten any offensive points yet.
Big change up today with Jim Schwartz going more to his own defense. 8 snaps of zone defense, 2 snaps of man and 2 blitzes. And you see, he doesn't have the quick answers. They must have come into this game expecting a heavy dose of man coverage. You see Joe Burrow holding the football, nowhere to go with it, and then that's allowing that secondary pressure to force Burrow to throw it away.
Burrow goes play action.
Good defense.
Towards the sideline, and it's incomplete. We had a chance to visit with Jim Schwartz. Who,
Good job, Greg. 3rd and 8 here. Get him off the field.
For a long time, he talked about the injuries that they had to deal with in camp, which is really the time of year where he tries to figure out what's the best scheme for his players, what's the personality of his team. He said we're still trying to figure that out in terms of what our identity is.
Yeah, even though they have a lot of the same players, last year they were a heavy man-to-man coverage football team. But you see, with all the different injuries, he really hasn't been able to figure out the best way to put their defensive scheme together. It's still a filling out process that he just hasn't quite hit on yet.
On 3rd and 8, Burrow puts a man run to it.
Oh, good defense. Good defense by Denzel Ward. Gets the hand there to knock it out. Great job.
Miraculous catch. What a recovery by Denzel Ward, the all-pro corner.
This is textbook technique by Denzel Ward because he's in a position where he doesn't play the football. But all he does is reads the eyes and the hands. He plays the pocket of the wide receiver. You see Yossi Bosch? Right when he comes down with the football, he swipes at it with his right arm, gets the ball out. Can't be done better than that down the field by Ward.
Ward's been banged up. Remember, he had the concussion that cost him a couple of weeks in camp. Hamstring injury of late. But he makes his biggest contribution of the day for this Cleveland defense.
Got to get something on this first set. Got to get this offense from within the back of their end zone, because every time Deshaun drops back and he's like on the edge of the goal line, it makes me nervous as hell. All right. Defense is holding up, man. Defense is doing everything you could ask for right now. They deserve all the love right now. Somebody brought this up in chat, and I can't remember who it was, but it's a good point. The special teams unit of this Browns team is what, -10 right now? They gave up 7, and then they missed a 3-pointer. That's a 10-point difference in this game. Got to appreciate the defense continuing to make plays and go out. Yeah, they're playing really well. The defense played really well, I thought, in Philadelphia for the most part. And this week they're playing well. That defensive line just getting healthier and them being able to get more consistent pressure without having to blitz, I think is important. It's hilarious the difference that it makes just taking off Quentin Jefferson off the defensive line. Something I've been advocating for since August. But glad it finally got done there. And the corners are playing much better. I think Jim Schwartz has made some savvy adjustments in this game to Cincinnati. Look, the Browns and Kevin Stefanski, the one thing you got to give them their credit for, whether you like Kevin Stefanski or not, Browns teams under Kevin Stefanski tend to play well versus division opponents most of the time. That is the one hook, no matter what the season, what the overall record is for Kevin. He's always been able to manage having a decent divisional record. Now it's going to be up to Watson to get this offense going, or the Browns to make a decision here, because the offense is just doing nothing right now. I don't see what the harm would be in putting in DTR for a drive to see if it sparks anything.
Cleveland, first indoor mall ever built in the United States. There's BJ Hill, so encouraging news for Cincinnati with all the injuries they've had this defensive front.
Would you love some complimentary football for once? Yeah, I would love that.
As they slowly but surely get themselves healthy. Second straight possession for the Browns that begins inside their.
Oh, shit. Just run. Just run. Okay. All right. I'll take it. I'll take it. I will take it.
Catastrophe to first down.
I will take it.
It's a pickup at 15.
Well, I don't know how Nick Chubb, I don't know how he's able to get around Watson and pick up this block.
Good pickup there by Nick Chubb.
And then Chubb down.
And then good find by Deshaun.
Murphy, Well, that's what allows Deshaun Watson to get around.
Look at this pickup by Chubb. Haven't noticed Mike Hall yet. I mean, he hasn't. There we go. Chubb looks comfortable now. All right, I think you're going to get a holding penalty there, though. Or illegal procedure, something stupid. Same shit you did last drive. Haven't noticed, but Mike Hall, what do you think? Mike Hall hasn't been noticeable, bad or positive. He's been out there. Same fucking shit.
Kevin Stefanski shaking his head. Let's get a Tennessee Buffalo update to New York. Remember.
All right, guys, trailing 10-0. Buffalo hands it off to James Cook, 11 yards into the end zone. Cuts the score, 10-7, Tennessee. Back to you guys.
All right, Brian Callahan, the former offensive coordinator for Cincinnati, now the head man in Tennessee. But this shake of the head really tells the story for Stefanski arching this offense.
SMFH emoji. That's what that is.
First and 15, pump fake. Watson goes.
Oh, God, don't take a sack, Watson.
Sheldon Rankins, second sack for the Bengals. Everyone was waiting for the Cincinnati offense to perform. Remember all the money that they poured into this defensive front. But now all of these guys that were on the shelf arch are coming back, and boy, they are pinning their ears back.
Well, last week was really one of the first times this season that this line has been able to play together. They had 8 defensive linemen that had over 20 snaps. And, Chris Hubbard said that he really felt that because of that rotation, they felt as fresh as they ever
Lord.
They felt as fresh as they ever had in the fourth quarter because they had so many bodies in the lineup.
On second and long, they get it to Njoku to try to just get them into a manageable third down situation. Here they pick up only 6. Luana Rumo, longest tenured defensive coordinator with his current team in the league, was put downstairs to a deep.
Well, Spiro, as Arch talks about Sam Hubbard, he, of course, had that brutal ankle surgery, 5 months of recovery, and then 2 days into training camp.
Yeah, fuck it. Run a slip screen or something.
It's really only the last 2 weeks that he finally feels like himself, and such a key veteran piece of this defensive front.
Yeah, he's been one of the hardest sold players. Said it was the hardest rehab he's ever experienced in his life.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
16, that's gonna
Probably had something down.
Elijah Moore running the bounds well short. And Arch, they just cannot get anything.
Yeah, the Boo Birds are out.
And they've had opportunities. They really have. Since the first play of the football game.
So you put more on Watson till this point.
To me, I've seen opportunities, probably 3, 4, maybe 5 opportunities to get some chunk plays in the passing game, to get at least a 15, 20, 25-yard pass play. But
Hey, look, to those of you who don't want to listen to me when I say it, listen what the broadcast is saying right now. This is what everybody who looks at the All 22 view says about Deshaun Watson. There are opportunities there. You want to blame the offensive line. You want to blame the coaching staff. But the fact is, even if you think this offensive line is trash, even if you don't like the coaching staff, there are still opportunities to be made there at the quarterback position. And this dude's not making them. How much longer are we going to let this dude play? That wasn't a screen. Who said that was a screen? That was a check down. He just threw a check down. He looked deep, decided he didn't want to do it, and then threw a check down. That's what he did. DSD Record says same lame ass dump in the middle only game he has. It's not even game. Like anybody can dump that shit off over them. Like he's not capable of running the offense. There's no way you're running an offense and you're running play action and consistently your number one read is a hook route to the running back that you just ran play action to. There's no way you're telling me that is the desired first read, the first outcome of that play action play. And I know it's not the first option because every time they run it, the fucking dig is open. How much longer, man? I would rather have him throw an interception trying to make a play than watch him refuse to make a play out of pure fear. Almighty says when the O-line plays bad, he makes it worse. And like, we got to talk about it. He's not the magician. Like, he's had a couple of plays this season where he's had that magician-like ability. But if we're talking about consistent ability to escape, he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's not there anymore. Like, it's not just a mental fall off for Deshaun. Physically, he's not as capable of making the same great athletic plays on a consistent basis. And the key word there is consistent. Yeah, he'll pop one off every once in a while, but on a consistent basis, he's just not that guy athletically anymore.
For their 2 star wide receivers to make something happen. 4 catches between them as they begin here just inside their own 30. Burrow from the gun. Hit on the release, gets it out, and gets it on time to Chase coming across the middle. About flat is
At my breaking point, put DTR in just to see.
It's a pickup of 17 if it stands.
It's a holding.
Looks like the injured Cincy player here is Orlando Brown, the Pro Bowl left tackle.
Of course.
This is what you do to attack zone. You just run a high-low. You see Owusu Corvo at low, and then you just hit it right there in that deep window. So really nice adjustment for the Bengals expect.
See, it's nice when your quarterback can actually read a high and low and then throw with anticipation to the high-low.
And throws that route beautifully.
Cody Ford has come on for Cincy at left tackle. For Orlando Brown, at least for the moment here, Zach Moss. Another pickup of 3 here. So Jamar Chase, playing that final year of his rookie deal. Of course, that highly publicized hold-in that lasted right up until the eve of the opener. But Dede had a chance to talk to him this week. He talked about the psychological hangover from that. But you wouldn't know it watching him play, or it's the first 6 weeks of the season. He's been incredible.
There it is. There it is. Defense fighting like hell, man. The defense fighting like hell right now. Bro, this is sad. It's been time for Winston. It's been time since the Commanders game.
That just stays in his gap. And it looked like he runs into his own teammate, but they're just not able to pass that off, and Cleveland is able to get to the quarterback.
Jim Schwartz touched
They put Sir Yacht on the screen.
pressure the quarterback. They have done that so far. On 3rd and 13.
A lot of time here. Got him. Got him again. The defense is not quitting today. The defense is not quitting.
And finally, it's starting to look like last season's Jim Schwartz.
That's it. That's it.
It starts again downfield.
All the stadium is full. Most loyal fans in the sport, absolutely.
Have any answers? You watch it.
Absolutely.
Situation, and there's nowhere really to go with the football. And Zadarius Smith just stays with it. He's able to kick to Burrow for another set.
All right, offense. If you can't score right now with how this defense is playing, you got to go to jail.
Only scoring if you just hop down with us.
This defense is begging you to do something. Let's do it. This should, honestly, like when the defense is playing this good, this is the stuff that gets somebody benched because the defense is playing this good. You can't do nothing about it offensively. If he misses another fucking route, you got to bench him.
He has quick answers, and he always knows where to go with football. And that's the number one thing that Jim Schwartz said when we spoke to him in our meeting is that he knows exactly.
Because it's not hopeless right now. We can win this game.
There isn't a quick answer. He doesn't know exactly where to go, and then that's allowing the pass rush to be able to.
There you go, Chubb. Nice little run.
Deshaun Watson had 12 completions on the day, just 2
Get comfortable,
over
Chubb.
10 yards. And the Browns offense, now, their last 34 drives, they have scored.
I think Chubb needs to just take a nice lick here to get comfortable. It still looks like he's hesitating a little bit into contact, not as ferocious as he usually is. I think he just needs to kind of take a big lick here. Like, get that taste of physicality in his stomach.
He's going to go gun here and go to the wide receivers to his right. And off Chubb looking for a seam very close to that first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. Tackled finally by Geno Stone. And it looks to be a little bit short of the line to gain. 3rd and short.
Well, so far, for a workload for Nick Chubb, that's his 7th carry of the football game. And traditionally, his sweet spot is when he gets to that 18 to 22. Typically, when he hits 18 to 22 carries, is when
Good push by Chubb.
his biggest games.
Chubb pushed him over the line.
Gets a little push.
Got him.
Waiting for the signal here now. Ronald Torberg says first down Cleveland. March, they just need anything to get going here.
Let's go. 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes here. 3 timeouts, 5 minutes. You can run anything you want.
Some sort of chunk plays in the past. It doesn't need to be a 40 or 50-yard ball, but you have to start to hit 15 to 25-yard passes. This offense not good enough to just 3-4 yards.
Are they going to give us a new
The
clock?
opportunities have been there, but they have to.
We have to call timeout. We're going to have to call timeout. They didn't give us a new clock.
This Cincinnati defense.
Why is DTR the backup? Is this a tell? Are they planning on playing DTR soon? We got to see how they handle this, right? Like, if he's the backup next week, then that is a tell that DTR, in their minds, has at least outplayed Jameis Winston in whatever scenario that they're looking at.
D's everywhere he can. This week he committed $150,000 to get AEDs and
But it could also be because they have some gimmicks planned for DTR. The fact that he didn't come in there on 3rd and 1 tells me they don't really have any gimmicks planned. And it's like maybe they thought DTR should be the backup all along, but as long as Jameis was running the QB sneak stuff, but now Deshaun's running it, I don't know. It could be a million things.
for cardiac arrest in a spin class.
He's been such a big part of this community. Ohio born and bred, grew up in the Akron suburbs. And Denzel Ward, of course, one of the elite players in the NFL. Watson.
Hey, Nordonia, Macedonia people, how do y'all feel about y'all being called the Akron suburbs? Like, is that true? Is Macedonia the Akron suburbs? Is that what we're going with? Twinsburg, Macedonia, y'all the Akron suburbs?
On first down. And you're able to
Good throw. And we're moving the ball. We're moving the ball here.
Just that right there is progress.
Just getting a little bit of life from Nick Chubb here.
Continue to hit
Open stuff up.
down the field.
All right, we're going into 2x1. 3
3
by 1.
And tighter and suffocate your short passing game.
Oh, Deshaun. All right. There it is. Nice.
We've seen Watson do that twice now. Escape a would-be sack from Hendrickson this time.
Yeah, the people like, oh, they sat Jameis because the fans would be chanting for him. What makes them stop? Like, they're not going to stop chanting for Jameis if they wanted to just because he's not active. I don't think most of them know or care about that. I think that's a bad theory.
So difficult and making it so tough.
It's all been so negative for Watson, but there have been little flickers of hope. Last week in Philly, the loss out there. Second half.
And they're not going to bench him. He's 14 of 16 right now.
To win. So that momentum did not carry over into today.
You got to throw here. Got him. Might be his best game of the season. Shout out to you for adding the clock so we can sync our TVs. Appreciate that. All right, Browns moving the ball. Browns moving the ball right now. All right, good stuff here. And look, as much as we've been bitching, Watson is what, 16 of 15 of 17 or some shit like that. He's on his track for his best game of the season. So, look, I'll take a good Watson game if it means we win. We know that he's not good overall, but, like, he's going to play a good game. You want to win those. Where's Big Booty Judy at? That's nuts. That's insane that somebody said that. So insane, I'm about to use the restroom. Right? Right. Getting the best drive of the game right now. Gotta score. Gotta score. Gotta score. Gotta score. Gotta score. Gotta score. Gotta get points because you didn't get points on the last scoring drive. Really got to get points here, right? Especially if you can end the half on that. You get the ball back at halftime. Nick Chubb's hopefully going to be more comfortable. He's looked a lot better the longer this game has gone on.
Throwing the ball over 10 yards twice on this drive.
Let's go.
That last one for 21 yards to Akins.
Here strong here. Good run. Oh, if he could have stayed on his feet. Oh, yeah. Good run. Good run, though. Good run. Good run. All right. We got 2 timeouts. Not that much ground to cover. Got the chunk plays we've needed all game. Deshaun been throwing dink and dunk. Got some chunks on this round.
Looks down at that play sheet.
They've yet to target Jerry Jeudy in this game. The tight ends have had, between the Njoku and Akins, they've had 9 targets.
3x2.
Yet to try to get the
Oh, he slips. Oh, is he okay? Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. Hey, his Achilles is down. This is ugly. This is so ugly. They just cheered so loud. So loud. Oh my God. Yeah, that looks like an Achilles. Oh! Oh! Oh!
My goodness.
Oh! 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 All right, this ain't the time to fucking cheer, dog. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's done. Do you think they will trade? Well, we ain't got to worry about this. He's done. That's it. That's his season's over.
Himself warmed up, but
His season is over. Oh my God. That's his Achilles. No, that snapped. You saw his calf moved? Oh my God. Yeah, man. That's it. That's it. That's it. That is it. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, dude, that was ugly. That was a really. You could tell because it was non-contact. He just hit the ground. I'm like, that's serious, right? Like that's not a high ankle sprain. And then when they showed the reverse angle, ugh. Yeah, I got the feeling early on that this is not some shit y'all want to cheer. It's gonna be very tacky to root for that. Like that's absolutely ugly. That's it. Is that his career? I mean, like his career was hanging on like this. And then he got an Achilles injury. I think that's wraps, man. That's it. That's it. Unfortunately. We'll see if he can come back from it. Like we're like, think about this. If that's an Achilles injury, we're legitimately talking about this time next year, maybe he could come back. Like, hey. And he already was looking rough before that. I mean, this was the best. Like, it's unfortunate he goes down. This is the best he's looked all year.
Just an unbelievable scene. Deshaun Watson carted off the field. This was seconds ago. Players from both teams giving him words of encouragement. See the emotion.
Yeah, you could see he sees it. He understands what's happening here too.
We'll try to get an update on him.
All right, DTR, it's your turn. 3rd and 7. It's gonna be tough. They're gonna blitz.
3 games for this team last year when Watson went down with that shoulder injury. Takes his first snaps of his sophomore season. Throws towards the end.
Oh, that was that's a dart that DTR just threw there. Dart by DTR. And they're going to get the flag there, get this ball on the 1. That's it right there. Stay classy, Cleveland. Bad karma ain't worth it. Look, I think the fans in there handled that well. They cheered him when he got pulled off the cart. I think the fans understood that this was not like a slight injury. This was an Achilles injury. They chilled off of that ignorant shit. So good on them, man. Woo.
Some rocky moments last week, but remember, he had that big pass breakup late in the game against Darius Slayton. Here, it turns out to be a 22-yard penalty. First and goal, Cleveland from the 1.
And that's in. There it is. Oh, it's a flag. There's a flag. What's the flag? Yeah, it's on us. Illegal procedure, probably. Bless DW4, yeah. Nobody, we don't wish for injury for any player, no matter how much you dislike them. All right, it's only 5 yards.
The right guard is Michael Dunn.
Right guard in the neutral zone. You do not see that very often. Right here, it's really hard to see. It looks normal.
It's hard to see from that angle. From that angle, it looks like everything was okay.
It looks like he's lined up with everybody else.
Well, these back-breaking penalties continue for the Browns. Hand off to Chubb.
Good run by Chubb.
Gets back to the
All right, let's just do it again. Let's do it again.
So,
You got to do what you got. You got what I wanted, Q. I wanted him to get benched. I did not want him to get an Achilles tear. I'm not that ghoulish.
get it back with 68 seconds left. A reminder to keep it here. The Verizon halftime report is next.
All right.
Crew standing in New York. Get you caught up around the league. It's all to come on the Verizon halftime report. On what has been an emotion-filled day already, the return of Nick Chubb, then Deshaun Watson carted off with what appears to be a right leg injury seconds ago.
Yeah, you see the helmet of Dunn there, low.
Now we get to see what Kevin's. Yeah. Now we get to evaluate it, man.
I don't really see it.
So Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the man they took with a fifth-round pick last season at UCLA, started 3 games, went 1-2, and actually led them to that win against the Steelers in Week 10, where they had people buzzing in this city. Throws near center end zone, and it's incomplete.
2 drives to get to 2.
Looking
Let's
for
run it.
Njoku, and it will be 3rd and goal, and the clock will be 2 seconds coming off, leaving some potential time on the back end for Cincinnati.
Yeah, if you look back to last year, remember, he came in and started week 4, that crazy week 4, kind of a last-minute start against the Ravens. Didn't fare too well in that game, played the Steeler game. Really, when you look at it, as far as the passing game goes, threw the ball pretty well against the Broncos in week 12 of last season.
3rd and goal here. They mark it at the 2. Handoff.
Got it. That's in. It's a legitimate.
No signal yet.
They got to give him that. It's legitimate tendon tear. Sadly, rough. Yeah, it was nasty.
He is inches short of the goal line.
It was nasty. It was absolutely nasty. We're going to challenge this?
So Cincinnati.
Let's see what the spot.
58 seconds left.
I think we should challenge this. Or is it reviewable? I think the ball, give me the reverse angle. I think his ass hit the ground and the ball crossed the plane here. Right about there. Where's that ball?
It's pretty close.
Arch, any consideration here to take the points? Or do you like this going forward?
I think right now, if you're the Browns, you've had a long drive to close out this quarter. You've already punched it in. You had a neutral zone infraction. But to me,
Fullback dive, Chubb.
to number 24. and you try to plow it in and inject some life into this crowd in the stadium, especially with Deshaun Watson going into the locker room. You got to try and let Chubb take this in.
Remember, the Browns get it to start the second half. Pitch play.
Got the cut. Chubb's in. There we go. There it is.
Nick Chubb, one of the baddest men on the NFL stage, in his triumphant return after 13 months, has the Cleveland Browns into the end zone. Just think about the journey for Chubb. A devastating injury to his left knee in week 2 of last season in that Monday night against Pittsburgh.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, hey. Got to cut the fucking kicker, man. The kicker's done. He's done. Disappointed in fans for cheering when Watson went down. Yeah, I mean, they cheered really loud when he initially went down, but they calmed the fuck down after that.
You get Chubb on the end. They string out that Cincinnati defense. You get an excellent block inside, outside by Jeff Swaim, and Nick Chubb does the rest. That's got to feel real nice for Mr. Chubb.
Two surgeries that Chubb underwent. The medial capsule, the MCL, the ACL damage, the meniscus tear.
We got to cut the kicker,
What a
though.
moment for Chubb as he gets the Cleveland Browns some badly needed points.
We got to cut the kicker. Oh, my God.
Or you think these Browns fans have been waiting for Chubb's return with bated breath?
That is.
Or it's just a crazy set of circumstances. They lose Watson, carted off the field.
Bad scene.
A psychological hit with that. And then Nick Chubb in his return game gets in their first points of the day. Hopkins' kick fielded by Jones. And Cincinnati's going to have it after the touchback. Another reminder to keep it here. The Verizon halftime report coming up next. The full day of scores, 7th Sunday of the NFL season. It's all to come on the Verizon halftime report. Joe Burrow, always dangerous. Master the 2-minute drill. What does he do here? 56 seconds. How aggressive do they want to play? As they begin at the 30 with one timeout left.
Yeah, you can easily be aggressive here. There's no doubt. You've got the timeout, you've got the quarterback, you've got the wide receivers. But so far, Cleveland has not let them get anything whatsoever going down.
Yeah, Q, we might have a combo about D-Hop for real. The combo is up. What do you mean? Like, he's got to go. 2 missed extra points, 2 costly missed extra points.
What's this one?
It might have gotten Garrett.
What are we calling here? Let me see it. Let me see it.
A massive penalty against Cleveland.
Yeah, he's coming around the edge.
Oh, yeah, they high-load him. You can't do it.
He makes contact.
Yeah, you can't high-low him
He
after the
gets from
ball.
making contact
Yeah,
with Joe Burrow by taking more than 1.5 steps after the ball.
it's the high-low.
But that's a tough call.
All right, get him here. Oh, Miles came shooting out a cannon. No, they did not call that.
Coverage by Martin Emerson.
So the question is, did Emerson grab Chase's right arm?
He just rubbed against him.
But, you know. In the last few seasons, have you ever heard of an uncatchable pass that called it? Very rarely. Very rarely.
Man, we've heard that shit like 4 times in Cleveland alone. Yeah, it's not
Cut
catchable.
contact, but it's one of the rare times that I've heard them actually admit the ball was uncatchable.
You seem a little surprised in my officiating chops.
A little surprised, yes.
So 46 seconds, injury update. Orlando Brown, their starter at left tackle, questionable with a right knee. So Cody Ford, who's had to play a number of snaps this year, at the moment is in at left tackle. 2nd and 10 over the middle.
Good tackle by Denzel Ward.
Mike Gesicki, first time he's been targeted. Cincinnati with their
All right, last time out. Get him here.
They pick up only 2. And they're going to take it right here. Evan McPherson's got that big leg, his career long, just under 60 yards. Which is a franchise record. Zach Taylor now looks down at that play sheet. It's 3rd and 8, 41 seconds. They're out of timeouts.
Yeah, production has not come easy so far today in the passing game for the Cincinnati Bengals. And really another mind-boggling stat in this game is the fact that Cincinnati is 0 for 5 so far today in 3rd down. I mean, that is, when you think about Burrow and the way he's been able to operate, that's been one of his best downs. And so far, Cleveland, their secondary, after not having a good day last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, has been all over these Bengal receivers.
Burrow takes a snapshot of the defense with a wobbly pass far side, and it's
Bobble.
incomplete.
All right.
To T. Higgins wasn't a pretty
Boy,
pass.
this defense has done every. Special teams is minus 11 points right now. Special teams is a minus 11 points right now.
See Martin Emerson out there just all over it. Again, these corners and Jim Schwartz not bashful about being a little critical of the way they played. Not really lived up to the way they played last year, really today, against as good a wide receiving core quarterback as you're going to see. They've been
Take a knee.
outstanding.
Darden's going to get it out of bounds right around the 20-yard line. Well, Cleveland's been looking for a franchise quarterback for a long time. This is since 1999, the eternal search that just never seems to end here. Some of the old names, Johnny Football, of course, Baker Mania, got them their first playoff berth in forever here back in that 20 season. Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the answer. Everyone just waiting now to see the extent of that right leg injury. Watson carted off the field here, if you've just joined us moments ago in this quarter. On in his stead, there's the second-year kid, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, for the foreseeable future. Cleveland ties the game on the Chubb touchdown run late in the quarter. They missed the extra point. And that's where we sit, 7-6 Bengals as we reach halftime here in Cleveland.
All right. Well, it's going to be a game about the second half here. Right now, the special teams owes you 11 points right now. Special teams owes this Browns team 11 points. A missed extra point, a missed sub 50-yard field goal, and a touchdown return given up on the first play of the game. Set up a 13-minute timer.
13 minutes.
So that's what's going on in the first half of this game. So far, I think the Browns defense has played really well. Their best performance, their best half of football all season. Unfortunately for Deshaun, who I think was on his best drive of the season before it looked like he tore his Achilles. He'll probably be out for the season now, and probably a good chunk of next year, if that's even relevant at this point, because that's a tough injury to even come back from. But it looked like Deshaun was having his best drive of the season up until that point. Tears his Achilles right at the goal line. DTR steps in, throws a beautiful ball to Cedric Tillman that draws a pass interference call. to get the Browns on the 1 yard line. Browns capitalized, score on that, missed the extra point. But the story of the day right now, if you're looking at positive things, one, I think Nick Chubb in the last 2 drives have looked much more like Nick Chubb than he did at the beginning of this game. It's a huge sign here for this team, especially now that Deshaun's out. Obviously, you know that this team's going to have to focus really heavily on their ability to be able to. Let me do something real quick. On their ability to be able to run the ball. That's going to be a big thing for this team. So that's huge for this team, being able to get Nick Chubb here. Obviously, the defense playing as well as they have played for the first half of this game, I think has been a huge boon to this team. They can win games like this. They got to get more out the offense, right? Offense, 4 straight punts to start the game. Got a super chat. They told me to bust down my AP. Perfect timing. That's got to be a rap lyric. That's got to be a rap lyric. I don't know what the reference is. Maybe I'm just old as fuck. Might be the case. But thank you for the super chat, Ty. 10-15. But yeah, man. That is the good stuff there. The bad stuff, honestly, is all special teams outside of the offense, right? Special teams has not showed up well in this game. Special teams has not been a positive force in this game. We're talking about minus 11 points. Oh, he talking about Shedeur Sanders. Okay, cool. The Browns match up so well against the Bengals. Yeah, defensively for sure. But the special teams right now, minus 11 points, just unacceptable, right? Like the Browns should have 10 points on the board right now. Should be going into halftime with this lead, and they should be up 10-0. Unfortunately, they're down 7-6. You can point directly at special teams to why they're down that much at this point. Give me 1 second here. All right, we got a super chat here. Glad Chubb is back. Go Lions and Browns. Absolutely. So yeah, that is to me the big takeaway. Special teams owes this Browns team 11 points. Was Ford's injury non-contact? It was the most non-contact injury of all. It was just, remember when Aaron Rodgers planted his foot in the ground and his entire Achilles just popped? That's what just happened to Deshaun Watson. And think about it, Aaron Rodgers was barely available for week 1 this year after having that injury. I mean, we're talking about Deshaun's not going to be ready till like week 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a wrap. He's missed so much football since he's come back. This is going to be another thing that's going to force him to miss more football. It's going to be tough for him, man. It's going to be tough. The Browns are forced to move on now at this point, right? The universe has made the decision, unfortunately, for the Cleveland Browns and unfortunately for Deshaun Watson, that they're going to have to move on from Deshaun Watson. Like, this is just it. You're not going to be able to hang on to it. Disgusted our fans are cheering a career-ending injury. Yeah, it was not the best moment for Cleveland. But look, we tried to avoid this. And here's the thing that I will say. Everybody knew this was a possibility coming into this game, that if there was an injury to Deshaun with how he's played, with the baggage that he carries off the field, that people would cheer. And this is part of the reason after the Commanders game pretty much told you he was done for. You just had to just call it a day because you want to avoid a ugly situation like this. Now, I think honestly, this situation that happened, not even a quarter as ugly as it could have gotten. I think the fans realized pretty quickly the severity of the injury and shut the hell up. And then gave him the cheer off the cart and whatever it was. Like when he was on the cart and they carted him off, that's normal. You cheer when that happens. You give a guy an applause. So I think it didn't get as ugly as it could have gotten, but this is what we were trying to avoid, right? Because you didn't want this kind of situation to happen. I brought it up multiple times. You didn't want the Tim Couch situation to happen. Well, now we get to see if the Browns offense sucks or just their quarterback, not the way you want to see it, not the way you want it to go down. Yeah, you absolutely never, ever want to see a player lose their spot just because of injury. You want to see it be done on merit, right? It is not okay to ever root for an injury, right? But this is the spot the Browns are in. And yeah, was it pretty? No, nobody's going to say that was a pretty sight that happened there with the fans, but I don't think it was half as ugly as it could have been. It could have been so much worse, right? So there's that. Yeah, I get it. Nobody likes the way that that's not a cool move. Cheering when a player gets hurt is never ever in sports circles, no matter who that player is going to be a cool move. It's never going to be a cool move. It's just not a cool move. And this is why I was like, hey, I think you got to bench him before you get home, because who knows what can happen in a game. If somebody gets injured and it's him, you don't want that ugliness to happen. This was avoidable, unfortunately, for this team, and it kind of played out the worst way it could. But I think for as bad as that scenario was, it didn't end up half as bad as it could have. Does Deshaun get the starting spot when he heals up? Hey, man, one, healing up, huge question mark for somebody who's going to be 30 years old, coming off an Achilles. It took Aaron Rodgers a ton of effort and forever to come back. The reality is that the Browns are going to have to move like a team that's moving on from Deshaun Watson. That doesn't mean they cut him. And if we're talking salary cap wise, this is a scenario that the Browns can work with. If Deshaun Watson is working back from injury for the next couple of years, they can continue to work with him and extend his contract, or, push his money down the road to not make it so that the salary cap hits too hard any year, and you can avoid like the cap penalties of that contract. Jake Evans, what do you think is the way forward with DTR to win this game? The same way I thought you were going to have to win with Deshaun. Look, I've been very vocal about how I think the Browns are going to have to win games going forward. And the way you're going to have to win games going forward is just running the ball, right? Taking the game out the quarterback's hands, no matter who that quarterback is. That's going to be your path to victory. I know some people are like, you should cut him immediately. I don't think that makes sense to do, because he cannot be on the team. He's going to be on injured reserve, so he's not even going to take up a roster spot. And now, since he's not cut, you can do more with his money to push it down the road, so it's not as effective on your salary cap. So that whole thing, if you're being like super ghoulish and just looking at this from a salary cap perspective, this wasn't that bad of a scenario for them. But like, honestly, you're never going to be happy that a player gets a torn Achilles, just for the humanity element of it. Like, it's a horrible thing, especially for an athlete. Hopefully it's not an Achilles tear, by the way. Like, I don't want it to be an Achilles tear. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looks, but it looked horrible. It looked horrific. And you could tell by the look on his face and the emotion that we have never seen from him, that was a horrific injury. How to live? Does losing Watson this way instead of riding him all season help Kevin keep the trust of his team? I mean, look, the thing that was going to help Kevin keep the trust of his team is the same, no matter if it's Watson or if it's DTR. And that's winning. Got to win now. Got to win now. Got to win now. Yeah, I mean, like it's a personally reasonable place to be at where you're like, hey, I don't want Watson to be the starter anymore, but I also don't want him to have a torn Achilles. That is a perfectly reasonable place to be. Like that is, don't let somebody gaslight you into thinking that that's not a reasonable take. You don't have to wish the worst physical harm possible be done to Deshaun Watson in order to have him be benched, right? That does not have to be a necessity. King Tut says, do we have to pay him if he's injured? Yeah, you have to pay him, but you can be more, you can move the cap a lot different. And then there's injury settlements that he may or may not get. Like, I don't know what the specific language is in the contract. And again, let's find out if this is a torn Achilles before we start dissecting all of that. Like, it feels rather ghoulish to do that right now because this dude is still on the training table. So wouldn't want to do that right now, but yeah, we'll figure out those details when they become apparent. Kirk tore his Achilles in week 8 last year. He will start next season unless DTR balls out. Truth is, you got a torn Achilles and you turning 30. We know how this Browns franchise moves. The Browns franchise understands that players getting injured, especially in their Achilles, not a good sign. Players turning 30, not a good sign. This is a team that's going to make moves to move on from the quarterback position because of all of this. Even if they were hanging on to their initial 5-year plan, this throws it all out the window. It's a game changer, man. If he has a torn Achilles, that's a game changer. And keep in mind, not all torn Achilles are the same. You can tear your Achilles in different ways, and it'd be much harder to rehab. Also, not everybody is the same. So that's another thing you need to think about. Nick Gary says, who do you see the Browns trading or signing a QB? I mean, they got Jameis Winston for a reason if they really don't feel comfortable with DTR. They seem to be comfortable with DTR because they put him out as the starter. Not the starter, but as the backup this week for no other reason than to start DTR, right? So it seems like that's their guy. We're about to be back from halftime. Let me go get my food.
As we get low bounce here, went into the end zone and then came out. Deontay Foreman is actually going to play it.
What the fuck happened there?
Not to start to Cleveland was open for. This is going to be the third offensive
The
possession.
last year that contract is what, 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26. It's 2026.
All right, Kevin, do you have any sort of update on Deshaun for him?
I have no update just yet. Obviously, it didn't look good. I feel very, very badly for him, but we'll see what they say when they get some tests.
Okay, moving forward to DTR, you clearly had some sense in making him your backup that he was ready. How does the plan change with him?
Yeah, it doesn't change much. You know, he's always prepared as he's the backup. I felt like that was the right decision to make for this game. But like any backup, you have to be ready in a moment's notice.
And what about your defense? What are you seeing from them?
Yeah, they're playing great. Obviously, we got to take advantage of some field position on the other side and play some complementary football.
Good job, David.
30 more minutes.
Good job, David. Way to fight through it.
We should know.
Just tuning in, what were the odds that DTR was up versus Winston when I saw that I had a feeling he'd make it to the field?
On that first possession
I mean, it was an intriguing choice to do that, right?
over the middle to get them a little bit of breathing room.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. You know that he can run around.
Sorry about this.
It's a big opportunity here to lead this football team and try to beat
Nice RPO.
a strong Cincinnati team.
Nice RPO there.
Well, and Joku again, as we mentioned at the top, Jameis Winston had been the #2 quarterback behind Watson through the first 6 weeks. Doesn't it change today?
Well, we'll know how they feel about DTR by what they do next week.
Really like here, they used that second or fifth round pick to take him last year.
Q, I feel this team is running in circles. Chubb, Baker, Watson, O-line don't really get hurt. The cheap. What? Are you implying that other teams don't get injuries? I disagree.
Play action here. DTR.
Oh.
It's broken up and incomplete.
Spiro Arch DTR is a young man that I've gotten to know over the last 2 years, and I'll tell you, just as you said, General Manager Andrew Berry has really liked him. He told me 2 years ago that he was the 5th-rated quarterback on his draft board.
Wow.
And even last year as a rookie, he showed an uncommon maturity. His teammates really respond to him. And of course, you know what he did last year in helping.
Isn't DTR the first quarterback Kevin's had a hand in selecting? Yeah.
You're at home week 10 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of his 3 starts.
Oh, DTR naked. There we go. Big run. There you go. DTR. Big play. DTR. Yeah. That's that speed. That's that speed. Got it naked on the back end right here. Great read on the RP on the read. Great read on the read option. Just gets naked backside here and then does a good job of following his blocks and just running fast as hell.
So I am sure that this week of practice, they didn't see many zone reads like this. Well, I know Deshaun Watson runs some of that stuff, but
best case scenario for the 4 and out. Hold on. Oh, good catch. Nah. David, you gotta catch that shit, bro. Best case scenario for the season with 4 out. I mean, look, I want to. Deshaun's got a torn Achilles more than likely, so I don't want to be too rough on him. But the best case scenario for the season doesn't change is whether Deshaun was out there or not. He just wasn't playing that caliber of quarterback play.
That was a different. We had pocket guys. Not only that, you're able to saw those guys in half and hit them pretty good. So it's a much different era. Normally, when the backup came in, he didn't know really what he was doing, so you felt like you were going to have a pretty good day on defense.
Everyone covered. Could be a free.
It's gonna be a flag.
It's going to be a first down.
Ooh. Ooh. Was he okay? Oh my God.
14. Now we'll check the flag here from Torber.
He's got to cut that out.
Oh my God.
Let's go downstairs to Aditi.
Spiro, the Browns have given us an update on Deshaun Watson. He has an Achilles injury,
Ooh.
and he will not return today.
Yeah.
No surprise to anyone. And of course, as we showed earlier, Spiro, he went off in tears.
So tough to watch any player get carted off in that fashion.
Kid got wheels for sure.
About that potential significant injury to his Achilles, but well, they're telling us now that it is indeed an Achilles and he is done for the day. So 2nd and 15 as they play from the Cincinnati 48. Thompson Robinson looking right, a little bit low at that pass, and it is caught.
All right, 3rd and 10.
Tillman, who started the day with only 3 catches on the season, has been their workforce to pick up a 5. Arch, take us back to the scoring drive. This was the play. You see the leg buckle. And immediately, first pass attempt, DTR to Tillman. That drew the PI and set the stage for Chubb.
Yeah, that's it started off, like I said, really hard.
It's literally the dream play we had for 4 in Chubb. Yeah.
Kind of vibrating, snapped away. It did not a good look. They were able to get a touchdown out of that drive.
All right.
Over the middle.
Field goal range here. You can go for it here. 4th and 2.
Remember, Dustin Hopkins missed the point after. He also missed the field goal in the first half. So that's the reason why this is a 1-point Cincinnati lead. As Cleveland Arch comes up a little bit short. And on 4th and 1, Kevin Stefanski keeping his offense on the field.
Well, you've seen a couple times short yardage, they've gone up inside, and Cincinnati really doing a good job. They did score on a toss. Wouldn't be surprised to see DTR keep this one around the edge.
Would have been a 53-yard attempt. Instead, Thompson.
Bad throw by DTR. Yeah, it's a bad ball by DTR. It's got to get ahead of that one. He didn't put air under that. It was there. Good call. It was there. DTR didn't execute. Good drive overall. I mean, like, that was the first drive. I'm like, oh, they're running RPOs. They're running read options. Like, the offense seems like they're doing different stuff out there with DTR. It's a bad throw. Let me get a knife. Eat my chicken. Yeah, obviously we want DTR to execute on the next situation he gets like that. Just got to get a better ball than Nick Chubb. And honestly, got to get that ball out a little quicker. Saw some good stuff. Obviously, the run to get you into position. One of the most explosive plays of the year, I think, for the Cleveland Browns on offense. You know, some throws there. He does a really good job on some of those quick slant stuffs. Just want to see him settle in. Get some air under the football, relax a little bit. I think he kind of pressed on that 4th and 1. Good play call, though. Good play call.
CBS Tuesday is FBI night. The FBIs are all new. CBS Tuesday. This broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Production. One-point Cincinnati lead, early stages, third quarter. Deshaun Watson done for the day. Achilles injury. Now this Cleveland defense back onto the field. They have been sensational. If you're
All right.
just limiting Joe Burrow with the Bengals to 86.
Defense, keep doing your thing. Let's see what adjustments Cincinnati's made. Oh, goddamn.
Like a lightning bolt.
Can't let him get the edge that easy. Can't let him get the edge that easy.
Down play for the Browns.
Yeah, really just an excellent job by Von Bell blitzing off the edge. He has to avoid a lot of different blockers. First, avoid the tight end, then Chubb, and then he has to avoid Foreman, and that's what makes the inaccurate throw. They had Chubb.
Run the damn ball on 4th and 1. No, did you see how, like, Cincinnati completely creased inside? Like, they were going to get that. They were going to stop that if you ran it.
So they get Brown and Breeder after that long run. Zach Moss, what has become this 1-2 punch.
And it's a big opportunity there to get a chunk play.
His career year last.
Also, like, you got to give DTR credit. He got to that 4th and 1 out of like a 1st and 22 or something like that.
March, we saw through the first 5 weeks of the season, last week plus.
Yeah, and it appears that in the passing game, at least in the first half, that the first and sometimes the second option really haven't been there for Burrow. Really credit to Jim Schwartz's secondary so far in this game.
Burrow on 2nd and 9. Goes to the
Yeah, they're going to attack the boundary really hard here.
Zach Moss on the catch and run.
What's on the menu? That's just chicken and potatoes.
Chase Brown to get the drive started, and Moss here for 18.
Yeah, really a nice job by Joe Burrow to see that, you know, both members of that Cleveland secondary run into each other, and he knows that he has Moss on the outlet pass. So really nice job of seeing the field by Burrow. Now you get one.
Appreciate the super chat, King Tut.
And all of a sudden, the Bengals finally have their offense offense going in the right direction.
Flags fly, play whistle dead. Aditi telling us, by the way, Orlando Brown, their Pro Bowl left tackle, downgraded to
I think that's
doubtful
gonna be-
now with that right knee injury. So Corey Ford stays in that left tackle spot.
Defense number 95, advantage to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
So they get Garrett. As we go to New York, let's get another NFL Today update with Matt.
All right, guys, in Green Bay, Jordan Love going to find Josh Jacobs on the little angle screen to take it into the house. Believe it or not, that is Josh Jacobs' first receiving touchdown of his career. Green Bay is on top 21-19. Back to you guys.
Matt keeping tabs on some of the scores around the league. The penalty numbers.
There you go.
They go back to the ground game here due to Bengals. Was barely able to get back to the line of scrimmage. David Njoku, by the way, went into the blue medical tent just a couple of seconds ago for Cleveland. As the Bengals are going to have it here, Arch, on a 2nd and 5.
Yeah, they just can't seem to catch a break.
Joe Burrow's struggles in the red zone this season have been interesting. His completion percentage has dipped down to inside of 47% in the red zone. As they try to get their ground game going, Burrow to the end
Oh,
zone.
good route.
Shoulder to chase.
Hey,
Masterful. Burrow with the sweet dive.
that's an excessive celebration. All right. Hey, knew you're gonna have to get to 20 to win this game, man. Come on.
This offense is playing at their best. It really comes down to single high, one-on-one matchups with the cornerbacks.
Good route by
The way
Chase.
they can hit the back shoulder, especially if he
You knew they were gonna wake up at some point.
Chase or hit the big ball over the top. Better than any quarterback receiver combination in the NFL.
It was Newsom, the man who he was working on the coverage, and
Right.
Jamar Chase with his 6th touchdown catch of the season. And he's doing his dance. Burrow and Company in business up 8.
See what the offense looks like second time out. See what the offense looks like. Yeah, Nick Chubb, getting him loose and warm, see where he's at physically, see if he's ready for more carries too. I think they gave him a little bit of a breather to start that half. We'll see what they do this half right here. Right back. Here's that super chat.
Get the boneless meal deal only at Wingstop. Wide open.
So we got to take a look at these bold moves presented by Wingstop.
Oh, he did the Newsom dance.
Charlie Jones game opening kick return, 100 yards for the touchdown. Nick Chubb with the short field. After Cleveland continued following the Deshaun Watson Achilles injury, and just seconds ago, Burrow to Chase. Didi pointed out during that last break that Greg Newsom, who was in coverage of Chase, was complaining to the referees that he thought Chase pulled him a bit on that sequence. No flag. And Jamar Chase continues Archwood has been a sensational season.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I would think it's unfair too, the way Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase operate. That pass is really when they hit that back shoulder with that kind of timing, it's almost unguardable.
Foreman catches, takes a knee in the end zone, and it's an 8-point Cleveland deficit as they will have it following the touchback. Next Saturday, 3:30.
Wow, Oregon's #1 in the country.
Battle out west. Number 20 Illinois hits the road. They'll take on Dylan Gabriel, and number 1 Oregon will kick things off at 2:30 with CBS College Football Kickoff and College Football Today, right here on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. David Njoku, we've been told, is out of the blue medical tent, but still on the Cleveland sideline.
Good pitch.
Play here.
Ooh, good run.
Robinson, the pitch to Akins.
Oh, come on, man. Did we not get set?
Kevin Stefanski offense will check the flag here from Torber.
They get an illegal man downfield.
Ineligible player illegally downfield offense number 75.
It's having a new quarterback in.
Well, there's a reason why this Cleveland offense has been so bad this season. These penalties just maddening.
Yeah, you could make an argument that last week it was because of the penalties up front. You know, they had a chance. They actually had a really nice drive towards the end of that game in Philadelphia. Get inside the red zone and just self-inflicted after self-inflicted wounds is one of the main reasons they didn't win that football game.
A graphic big part of the story this season for the Browns.
Good ball.
Pierre Strong at the backfield.
All right, good call. Got all that back.
As they get some of it back.
Got all of it back.
Here to set them up with
Yeah, 2nd and 6. You're ahead of sticks now.
Major headlines: the missed field goal by Hopkins, and a bunch of penalties. Hopkins also missed the PAT after the Chubb touchdown. Another miss here, Arch, by the young quarterback on 4th down.
Yeah, they've certainly they've had some chances. They've done some good things, but again, on a football team that's struggling with only 1 win, you just can't afford to make those mistakes. You've got to find a way to string positive plays together without going backwards.
Thompson Robinson.
Oh, can't have that. Gotta catch it. Gotta catch it. Gotta catch it. Gotta catch that.
And this is a mistake. Again, to me, you got 2 receivers. Cedric Tillman, he stops. I believe that he's trying to get this ball to Jordan Akins.
What the fuck is he talking about? No, that ball is supposed to go. Yeah. He's supposed to sit. It's zone. He doesn't sit, and it goes past him.
Introducing.
All right. And DTR's got to get that ball down. That can't be as high. Got to be more accurate on that, too. That's a tough one. Let me do something for main channel real quick. Okay, so I'm recording this one right after it happens here. It looks like Deshaun Watson has gone down with an Achilles injury, and this is an Achilles injury that is likely. Now, again, we don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes here. We don't know what they're going to diagnose this with, but they've already come out of the broadcast, said he's not coming back into the game because of an Achilles injury. Usually when it's that fast, usually when you have to cart a guy off, Usually when you see that level of emotion on the face of a player like you saw in Deshaun Watson when he was carted off, it usually means a season-ending Achilles injury. Now, what does this mean for Deshaun Watson in his timeline? It depends on what kind of tear it was to his Achilles, how severe that tear was. It looked very severe just by watching it. His whole calf kind of just shook. And also like how does he personally recover, his speed to recovery, his personal ambition to recover. That's all going to determine his recovery time. Some things in his control, some things not. We do know with an Achilles, it's usually 9 to 12 months. I mean, that's just the basic timeline there for Deshaun. And if it is an Achilles tear, then his season is over. And there's a good chance that he's not going to have a training camp at the very least for next season. So this begs the question, what does this mean for Deshaun Watson's future? For Deshaun Watson's future, it looks very cloudy. I mean, like, let's be honest here. Before this game started, his future was kind of hanging on a bit of a cloud here, right? Like, it wasn't really in the best place possible that it could have been before coming back from this injury. Now he's going to be coming back from Achilles injury. He's going to be 30 years old or over 30 now that he hits that threshold. And then you're talking about a player who has not played well and has not played more than 7 consecutive starts since 2020. And the earliest he's going to come back is 2025. We're talking about half a decade here. Odds are with this Watson injury is that this is severe enough to be the final thing that derails what was a career that was going off the track, in my opinion. Is there a chance he could come back, play again? Yes. Do I think that chance is super likely? I don't think so. But we'll see what Deshaun can get out of this going forward. It's going to be a tough spot for him to get out of. All right, let's get the game back on. 38 here for the Browns.
Cincinnati's going third down, 6. Handoff Moss.
He's going to go for the field goal here.
It would be about a 58-yard.
That's a long field goal.
Well, they're going to send out the punt team with Rico, the rookie.
Spiro, that was an excellent pre-snap disguise by the Cleveland Browns defense. They're showing a blitz look, man-to-man blitz look. Joe Burrow checks to a run, which in their eyes, everybody's showing here, and then Burrow checks to a run, and there's nobody over on that other side. Really well done by the Browns defense.
Good job here.
A little bit of a breakthrough game.
Good point. All right. Now, if we want to talk about what the contract implications are of this, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to try to get Jack Duffin on as soon as possible to talk about that on this channel, but I don't know what the contract implication is. I do know that if, let's say, Deshaun Watson's on injured reserve for the rest of this year and a considerable portion of next year, that does help you be able to spread some of the salary cap stuff out. The more years that you can cooperate with Watson while he's trying to come back with this and spread that money down the line, the better off you're going to be. It may have a lot of impact. It may have no impact. But what this does mean for the Cleveland Browns is that now definitively they know they have to look towards the next quarterback that they're going to have to go after, whether that's in the 2025 draft, whether that's on their roster right now with DTR, or whether that's in 2026's draft. They know that they have to move on, right? This is a quarterback who's 30, who has not played well recently. I know people are going to bring up Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, but one, Aaron Rodgers not playing great right now. And two, Aaron Rodgers had 2 MVPs before he tore his Achilles. And then the same thing could be said with Kirk Cousins, who's playing very well, was in the MVP conversation before he tore his Achilles. This is just a completely different situation where a player was struggling, tore his Achilles, looked like he was already starting to physically fade off that athletic ability. And even that being the case, his athletic ability was really the only thing justifying putting him out there at times. Now he might lose that. it's a tough conversation to have, but we got to be honest about it. I don't think the Browns are going to look into this and see Deshaun Watson at over 30 years old and think to themselves, yeah, this is a guy we want to continue to play as a starting quarterback. So they're going to have relatively no choice here but to move on from the Watson era. Their hand is forced. Like, they got to move on now. It's just what it is. This is a situation that makes you tear up all of your cards and move on to the next one. Even if they still were on plan A with Watson, this kills it completely. It's over with. They're going to have to move on to the next thing. Now, what does the next thing look like? Talk about that during the next commercial break.
Up downtown Cleveland. Next Sunday, National Tight End Day. But before you see the top tight ends in the NFL on the field, watch a special presentation of Tight End University to see Travis Kelce and George Kittle break down the position like you have never seen before. Tune in at 1 Eastern next Saturday right here on CBS. Fourth time that the Browns are starting a possession inside their own 15-yard line.
Yep.
Thompson Robinson sells the fake throwing of the run. That is off the hand of Njoku and incomplete. Archie, we started the day talking about the Amari Cooper trade, everything it meant for Deshaun Watson in this offense. Now Watson is gone. We talked about guys like Jerry Jeudy and Elijah.
Yeah, right now it looks like an offense trying to adjust to a new quarterback being in. The way that ball comes off of Watson's hands in DTR is just a world of difference here for these wide receivers. DTR spins this thing so hard.
Up and taking over for that number one, and he truly believed that it would be receiver by committee, and that the offense does work more efficiently and better the more they can spread it around.
DTR, boy, getting set.
Another run here.
You heard the report from McBeady how high Andrew Berry, their GM, is on this kid. Again, the 5th-round pick last year, the 3 starts last year. He's missed a couple of throws, but you see what has them so excited about his future.
Just the ability to, again, I don't know if, running this kind of offense where you got a ton of quarterback run game, but to have the ability to get out from your own shadow in the end zone, to continue to pick up a first down and keep this drive alive really helps this offense try to get down the field and score points.
Back to the run game here with Chubb. Again, Thompson Robinson, for anyone who has watched this team have a really good preseason and now hoping, like everyone else, that they can lean on this ground game with the return of Nick Chubb.
We've got 10 carries for only 20 yards, a 2-yard average. It hasn't been a lot of creases for Chubb to run up front. I really credit Cincinnati's defensive line, the front four, that rotation that they have in there. They've really played a physical football game against that against that Cleveland Brown offensive line.
Thompson Robinson feeling the pressure. That's a wobbly pass that sails incomplete.
Ooh, Henderson's hurt.
Intended receiver was Elijah Moore.
Yeah, right now when I look at DTR, you can tell he just got into this game, right? Because he's going through his progressions, but he went through it really quick here. Look at how he goes from 1, 2 to 3, right? 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit fast, right? Slow it down a little bit, right? I pointed this out in the preseason with DTR. What you want to see from him is the ability to kind of slow the game down for himself and just kind of take that extra half a second at times. Sometimes he rushes himself. He's a very quick athlete, very fast guy. He doesn't need to rush himself.
For this defense, 3rd and 8. Thompson Robinson again as they get chase. Just couldn't get a clean throw off as this Cincinnati front continues to come heavy. And it was Jermaine Pratt. He has been flying.
Asking a lot from this defense, man.
Really, all it is a 4-man rush. They put everybody on the line, and then they're going to drop the linebackers. It's just a 4-man rush. You get Hendrickson with some help over on one side, but they completely leave the other side.
All right. So if we're talking about the future of this team, there's 2 conversations that need to be had, short and long-term conversations that need to be had. Short term, the future of this team for at least the rest of this season. took an interesting turn, at least during this game for the Cleveland Browns, because Jameis Winston, who had been the backup all season, who had been the guy who's supposed to be the backup quarterback, signed to be the backup quarterback, a veteran backup quarterback, was demoted to third string quarterback for this game against Cincinnati. Now, they talked to Kevin Stefanski during halftime and asked him about this. And he said, yeah, we thought that that was the right choice for this game. And I'm sure we'll get something that echoes that on the post-game press conference or something similar to that effect, because I'm recording this right now during the game. So that is something that you got to think about here. If they're going to go back to Jameis next week, if they're going to stick with DTR, we'll see. But DTR is the guy that they're developing. If they feel like it's right for him to play, if they feel like he's at the right place to play, then I do think they'll continue to play him, to give him a look to see what they think of him. If they want to give him an extended look in 2025, given that Watson could come back during that season, versus drafting a rookie in this draft class, which is not the strongest draft class in the world, but I do think there's some quarterbacks worth looking at the very least in this draft class.
Joe Burrow in our chat talked about Higgins playing a little bit more violently at the top of his routes. The physical brand says he's playing with a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder as he plays in his 5th NFL season.
Well, you watch, he's been an excellent outside receiver, and certainly on the deep ball and the outs. But you go and you watch him last week, just played a physical brand at the line of scrimmage on some inside breaking routes. He's really added to his game this year. He is a tremendous wide receiver.
He'll pick up 19 to set him up with a 1st and 10 from the 30.
Good job, defense. Way to string that out.
It's unable to find the edge. Diabate coming with some smoke for Cleveland. Let's get more T. Higgins now downstairs to the meeting.
Well, Spiro, we know that T. Higgins is playing on that one-year deal, and even though Joe Burrow may have said he's got more of a chip on his shoulder, when I asked Zach Taylor if you could tell that he's in a contract year, Taylor said every year he plays like he's in a contract year. But Burrow did indeed say that if anything, a player that's always been so tough above the rim, he said he's even bigger, he's even stronger, he's even more violent at the top of the catch. And guys, we've seen that. We've seen the way that he plays above the rim.
Building on his impressive
2nd and 13. All right, 3rd and short. Worst special teams performance in years? Yeah, I agree with that. Been a horrible special teams performance.
To set him up with a 3rd and 4.
Well, here's the other thing about Burrow is that he never seems to press. He's not afraid. You know, it hasn't been a great start. They've certainly been frustrated in their passing game against this defense today, but he never seems to press and make the wrong decision. Always fine with just...
All right, I missed the super chat while I was recording something earlier. I'll get to it in 1 second here. It's from Big Dog. Ah, shit. All right, offense got to show something now. Big Dog, let's say Watson is out all next year with injury or rehab. Do we still take the cap hit? I know it's a long shot. No, you still take the cap hit for injured players. Now, if he retires, he's not going to retire during this contract. Like, let's be real about it. If Deshaun Watson decides while coming back from his Achilles injury, he wants to retire, here's how it's going to happen. He's going to work out something with the Browns where they extend this thing, and he'll be effectively retired, but he won't be on the team. It'll be some funky shit, but it won't be just straight up he retires. That's not really an option there. All right, the Browns' offense is back against the wall. They got to really score here. I don't think the game's over. They just got to score. So Yeah, so that's the question about like figuring out what you want to do long term, short term when it comes to the quarterback position. The truth is the Browns are going to have to look forward at the quarterback position, right? Whether they play Jameis Winston, whether they play DTR for the rest of the season. When it comes to 2025, when it comes to 2026, if it wasn't obvious already that they need to look at their options for those two draft classes, it becomes exceedingly obvious right now. Now, a lot of this will depend on what DTR looks like for the rest of the season or what other guys look like for the rest of the season. This is something that the Browns really did need to evaluate, but that's where they are there. Now, there's another element to this conversation that needs to be talked about that's not about the on the field stuff. It's more about the reaction in the stadium to Deshaun Watson, right? When he went down initially, I think the fans booed very heavily. This was something I was afraid of happening. We talked about this after the Commanders game. The Browns were going to go on a 3-game road trip, and it might not be something that you want to do coming off that 3-game road trip with the team to 25 to play Watson, because you're opening the doors for something ugly to happen in response to his return, if there were to be like an injury or something like that, right? Especially like a catastrophic injury where we're talking about season / possibly career-ending injury. You don't want a situation where he goes down, but the fan base is so excited that he's not going to play anymore that they cheer, right? And that's certainly what happened when Deshaun Watson initially went down. He cheered, the fans cheered, the players noticed it, they did not like it. We will hear from it in the post-game presser for sure from some of these players, their displeasure of all of that. But that's what went down there when he got hurt. Now, he went on the cart. The fans did clap him off the field after he got on the cart. I don't think it was half as bad as it possibly could have been, the fan reaction to Deshaun Watson going down. But let's not kid ourselves into thinking we had a good, classy reaction into Deshaun Watson going down. Now, whether it's justified or not, because you think the person off the field is a terrible person, or you think the player was just bad, the truth is that it's just not something you do. It's not an acceptable thing to do as a fan, no matter what the circumstance, is to root for a injury or to be excited for a player having an injury. It's very ghoulish. It's very disrespectful. It's disgusting. It's never going to go over well when a fan base does it. It's not going to be seen as justified or cute by most people. It's just going to be another ugly moment, similar to when the Browns did that with Tim Couch. Now, you can justify it. We could say it was justifiable, this, that, and the third, because of how Watson has played and what Watson's been accused of. But the truth is, it's just not within the realm of sports talk. In the realm of sports, we know that's not an acceptable thing to do. That being said, I don't think DTR just missed a giant wide open lane there. He's starting to, it's starting to go downhill for him, right? Like he came in, made some throws, but now he's missed some throws, and it's just kind of like snowballing for him. He needs to calm the hell down. Like he's looking like a pitcher that needs to get pulled right now. Calm the hell down, bro. He's too mad right now. All right. But anyways, yeah, he was open. He was open there. That needs to be completed. But yeah, that's really kind of the ugly part of this, right? And people are going to feel how they feel about the reaction to Watson getting injured and how the fan base reacted. And we're going to have these arguments within it, either it was justified or not, for years down the road, right? Because people are very polarized on this thing. But that's going to be another talking point out of this thing. But the reality is, for the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson likely out for the year, likely out for a chunk of next year. We'll see how he does in the recovery process, but we're not going to hear from Deshaun Watson for the rest of the year. That was a very serious Achilles injury, more than likely. Now the question is, okay, how do the Browns respond to this? How do they respond to this from a play calling standpoint? How do they respond to this from a play structure standpoint? This does give you a chance, now that you're going to see this offense under two different quarterbacks, to be able to evaluate, like, hey, what's actually going wrong here now that we're going to see it be repeated with another quarterback here on the Browns offense. So a lot to look at, a lot to talk about, and a lot to think about, quite honestly, with Deshaun Watson going down with an Achilles injury. Now we're going to see what Jameis and DTR has. No, I don't think the Browns are going to make a move to get another big-time quarterback in here or something like that. They're not going to trade for like another backup. I think they're going to just run with DTR and Jameis and then sign somebody like a Tyler Huntley type or a PJ Walker type off the street to be the third emergency quarterback. But I think that's where they're going to sit. We're going to see where we're at with these two. We're going to see where the offense is with these two. Was it just the offensive line? Was it a combination of the offensive line and the offense itself causing these issues? We will get to find out going forward now, because the Browns are going to have to do this with probably 3 different quarterbacks, right? Because DTR is going to play today. I imagine Jameis Winston will start the week after, and there probably will be some flip-flopping between those two as we go on throughout the rest of the season. But that's it. Deshaun Watson out for the year. I've worked it out. It's the white face mask. You know, you're not the first person to say that to me, to blame the white face mask in the new helmets, because it's the only thing that changed. It is the only thing that changed. So it's not like, it's not the reason, but it is a hilarious thought that that is possible.
Town Cleveland on this week 7 in the NFL. 14-0 third quarter for Cincinnati as they restore some order. 21-6. Spiriditas and Marcelletta, Didi kick a ball. The rest of our CBS crew. Joe Burrow's numbers first half to second. Cincinnati offensively had just 89 total yards in the first half if you've just hopped on with us. But the Joe Burrow company started to pick up some steam with their pass game. They begin here at their own 7
The tackle.
game. Chase Brown will pick up 2, maybe 3. So obviously Cincinnati's record arch not pretty, 2-4, but you consider as you start to dig into the numbers. Of course, that 1-point loss to Kansas City with that controversial defensive PI penalty on them late in the game. Shootout loss to the Ravens. Washington obviously has become one of the better teams in the league. So they've been close, a bunch of one-score defeats. And the Giants last Sunday night at the Meadowlands. Starting to feel like this team is really starting to turn the corner. Out of the backfield, this is Brown. And you start to consider the defensive resurgence arch. This is the team that everyone was expecting to see before the season began.
Well, Sparrow, the record's an anomaly because certainly on paper, and just by the track record, you expect Cincinnati to be up there as one of the top.
Next time we play the Colts, who would you have the guy be? This is our Colts fire collab.
There's no reason for me to believe they have those percentages about.
I don't know what you're referring to, but I'll look into it.
There's no reason for me to believe that Cincinnati, barring something catastrophic health-wise.
Oh, they stopped him. Oh.
Right there.
All right, get him on this set.
But what an effort by Moss. Springs out that initial tackle to get the Bengals the first down to pick up a 4. By the former Indianapolis Colt.
That's a great hit for two broken tackles. And, Cincinnati really has struggled all day today on third downs. Cleveland has done a really nice job, but just has been the case the entire season. 1 or 2 breakdowns in the secondary really have been the difference.
Lost
tackles.
time, Barry just barely back to the line of scrimmage. As we cross the 13.
The tackles.
Let's get another update on that Tennessee Buffalo game. Let's go to New York and Matt Ryan.
All right, guys, Josh Allen is going to drop back, look all over the place, and finally settle on Ty Johnson over the middle on the check down, 4-yard touchdown pass. Buffalo now up 24-10 over the Titans. Back to you guys.
It's hilarious. As much as we talked about like the assistance of the Browns going to like Tennessee and New England, ain't like they've been good there either.
Touchdown in that game. As he makes his Buffalo debut.
Let's get him here.
From the gun.
That's on the ground. Incomplete. 3rd and 9.
Trying to get it to the tight end, Drew Sample. 3rd down.
Yeah, one place where Cincinnati has done a great job, much different than what it's been in this building, is taking care of Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has had 8 sacks, 16 quarterback hits, 21 pressures against Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. But in this game, you've had a couple.
Why isn't Jameis playing? DTR couldn't hit a semi? Because Jameis can't play right now. He's the emergency 3rd quarterback. He can only play if DTR gets injured. I think DTR just needs to get out of his own head right now.
Play clock was down to 3 seconds, and they're going to burn their first time out. So again, that late first half scoring drive by Cleveland, thought maybe the tides were turning, but 2 touchdowns by Cincinnati in the 3rd quarter as they get this offense in gear.
It's just a matter of time before Burrow and Chase are going to connect, and then continuing to have just a major impact. T. Higgins has been sensational. Their first 3rd down conversion of the game. Easy little slant, catch and run, doing exactly what he did last week against the New York Giants.
Second half possessions for Zach Taylor. One of the great offensive minds in the NFL. 3rd and 9. They mark it just inside their own 30.
Get him off the field here. Oh. Oh, no. He dropped it.
What a matchup there between him and Ward. Officials ruling incomplete. Maybe a little bit of a argument between the 2 officials. Did Ward possibly come down with this?
Nah.
See, they clearly hit the turf, and they do rule incomplete.
That would have been incredible. That's the 2nd time today Ward has had the back to the quarterback and has been able to make a play on the football, play the receiver's hands, and get that ball out at the reception point. Excellent work out there for Denzel Ward.
Told you about Ward, some of the physical ailments he's tried to battle through, the concussion, had a lot of people concerned that he sustained during training camp, 5th concussion of his career. Also dealing with the shoulder on the injury report now. With that.
Man, you score a touchdown here, it's a 1-score game. Like, it's not that far out the reach. Just got to score here.
On here by Rico is bouncing. Darden will play it. Run out of bounds just beyond that 20-yard line. 58-yard punt by the rookie Rico. Now the question, can the Browns generate some offense?
Got to get it here, though. Got to get it here.
Why am I still hungry?
Because
Have to get it here.
the whole game is basically an elaborate scheme to make you buy more food. And it's working.
What are you talking about?
Think about it. Turnovers, pancake bunks, scrambles. No, I just scored. Feed me more.
Come on, McConaughey.
Come on, McCaffrey. Julius Peppers. CJ Ham. Slather on some Gerard mayo and you got yourself a sandwich. Refrigerator Barry, but not his real name.
You're being serious.
Yeah, they got you over, weren't you?
I don't think football's trying to sell you food.
Really? Come on, man. Can you go to Stanford?
I really don't.
And what are you eating, Jerry?
Rice.
Jerry's eating rice. Huh.
Uber Eats.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh, yes.
Feast your eyes on this.
That's sexy. Feels so new.
I want to feel this feeling again and again.
Can I hold it?
How bad do you want to hold it?
Not in a bag, but pretty please.
Don't. Go ahead. Press a button.
Oh, it's glowing.
Apple Intelligence. We should do this more often.
Great.
Rekindle the feeling of love with the new iPhone 16 Pro Max. Fulfill it again and again with the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Max Up Anytime. If there's anything you need to tell me, now
The secrets of big love of Georgie and Manny's first marriage.
Okay, some Baker Boys in there.
CBS this Thursday.
Appreciate the super chat, Franklin.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
I don't even got the energy to get into the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda thing with Baker Mayfield.
And Uber Eats.
I think it's fan fiction. Like, it's not reality that we would have been able to maintain that. Both parties kind of played themselves.
Welcome to new class of inductees, some of the biggest acts in music. Dave Matthews Band, Ozzy Osbourne, Cool and the Gang, and we're speaking of rock stars. Aditi's got her cheering section here today. Her husband Matt, children Nico and Kaya. Great to see them last couple of days. Matt, husband of the year. Taking care of the kids, letting Aditi do her thing. Thank you for that. This is starting with Thompson Robinson. Football scored it out.
Oh, DTR. Boy.
15-yard line. They avert disaster. Cleveland is going to maintain possession, but
He looked nervous.
offense has been awfully shaky.
He looks nervous.
In the second half. It's the possessions since Watson left with that Achilles injury. That first one was the touchdown drive into the first half, and everything else since has been ugly.
DeJuan Jones is in?
Second and 13.
There you go.
Thompson Robinson slings it here to Tillman. Rich, what can Kevin Stefanski do to try to get his young quarterback some rhythm?
Well, I think it's tough because you can see there's been some chances. You've seen some opportunities. You see them try to get the quarterback run game going to try to get things started. But I just think it's a matter of Dorian Thompson Robinson just kind of settling down and just hitting the opportunities that present themselves.
There you go.
Beautiful pass there. And again, it's Tillman.
There you go. Let's get moving.
Entering the day today, just 3 catches on the season. But interestingly, it hasn't been Judy, hasn't been Moore really. It's been Cedric Tillman, his 5th catch. They pick up 16.
Yeah, and they've thrown between he and Deshaun Watson, they've thrown at their tight ends 18
Oh, we got it.
times in this game.
All right.
Back to the ground game with Pierre Strong. It was so hard to get a rhythm, limited snaps for Thompson Robinson, the second-year quarterback. Hasn't played a ton. As they try to get some kind of chemistry here. In what is a 15-point game, with still plenty of time left, just inside the 10-minute mark.
Go under.
Robinson,
There you go.
over the middle.
Way to see it. Way to get back to it. Way to get back to it.
Now the officials say first down, Browns.
I think both
Just keep working small chunks here. They're giving you them.
Cincinnati have made really hard.
Flat line here. We got a corner press.
Sure that this wasn't going to be.
This looks like it's going to be 3.
They're not giving him the day that he was looking for. Now, put all the pressure on the quarterback to have to make plays in the passing game to get back in this game.
A pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Let's go back downstairs to Aditi.
So, Spira, there was a little bit of subterfuge, obviously, with who the backup quarterback would be. Would it be Jameis Winston, as it has been, or would it be Dorian Thompson?
Damn, Jameis got the fresh braids in.
That Dorian Thompson Robinson on Friday actually said to a teammate, "I feel like something's up. I don't know what's up, but Ken Dorsey keeps telling me to be ready." So, as of Friday, Dorian Thompson Robinson hadn't been told that his number could be called as the backup.
And again, significant just based on the level that Watson had been struggling, who that number 2 quarterback would be.
All right, 3rd and 4.
They saw enough this week to make the change. And as he completes here to Njoku, at some point they got to figure out if this kid maybe is the answer of the future. Obviously, still so committed with that Watson contract arch. But he's got another chance here.
Well, he looked good in camp and preseason, and they love his upside. And just like it is with all young quarterbacks who get an opportunity, it's about playing the game and getting his reps.
Boy, he is under heavy pressure, barely is able to get the football out. Hendricks,
Intentional grounding.
and here come the flags, multiple. Or just the last thing Cincinnati wants there to get Cleveland some momentum. One flag came out of the offensive.
Is this going to be grounding? I think it might be offsetting.
At the top of your picture.
Was there somebody there, though?
It's communication here between Jedrick Wills and Joe Patonio.
Did he attempt
Oh, illegal touching.
Get his body off of the quarterback. Lands.
It's crazy that we're sitting here trying to determine, whether or not, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's feet are completely off the air. And it's like, in my opinion, he puts his hand down to try to catch
I
himself.
think this is on us.
There were 2 fouls in the play, both by the offense.
Yeah. Yeah, by 71 and then intentional grounding. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was both.
All right. So no flag on Hendrickson. Intentional grounding
There was nobody in the area.
against DTR. So just when you thought potentially automatic first down for Cleveland, was pass not in the vicinity of any target, obviously still within the tackle box.
Under pressure.
What the hell is Jed doing there, man?
Not in the vicinity of any eligible wide receiver or running back. It's,
Let's get a good punt here, Bojo.
a lot of penalties on Cleveland on that play.
Hendrickson's prayers towards the officials answered them. He has been a monster for this defense that continues today here in Week 7 as they have held the Cleveland Browns to just 6 points. So Cleveland set up here for the punt. Still some conversation between Ron Torberg and his colleagues. Looks like they want to get a new football in here for the punter, Borquez. As he is going to punt it from just inside around his 35-yard line. 7th punt for Borquez on the day. Jones going to let this one.
He gets it.
Turns out to be
Ripper of a punt here, man.
terrific coverage down the field.
I don't know if there's first team all punter, but he's making it. That punter is punting. Unfortunately, we can't do shit with it. I mean, maybe we get a safety here. That turn things around.
It's game time. Let's talk later. Step aside, man. Big man job.
Let me go use the restroom real quick.
There's your score, 21-6. Cincinnati just as crazy run of struggles that they've had. Not won a game in Cleveland. Have to go all the way back to 2017. Joe Burrow has never won in the stadium. 0-3 in his career. And Cincinnati, despite all the success they've had the last couple of years, in the division since the start of last season, just 1-6. But Chase Brown just barely able to get out of the end zone. Of course, a lot of that came after Burrow went down to injury last year. For more on that, let's check in with the D.
Spirit, we saw how much of a beating Joe Burrow took in the first half, and it's actually interesting because this offseason, he actively put on 10 pounds. He told us that he was frustrated with the injuries. He promised us that he feels just as explosive. He does indeed feel like he can take the hits better, but he said that when he falls, it hurts a little bit more because it's 10 more pounds.
Hasn't affected his speed. Indeed, that 47-yard touchdown run last week. So we mentioned longest of his career. Back to the ground game here to Brown, and he's got the first down for Cincinnati. But the injury history, this is priority 1, 2, and 3, keeping their franchise quarterback healthy. Even last year, Arch, when the season kind of went south, before his injury in mid-November, they were on their way to another playoff berth. And, of course, it all went the other direction, wrist surgery, trying to keep their quarterback upright and healthy.
Well, you remember they dug themselves in a hole last year too, and a lot of that was because of the strained calf, and so that's been a big part of it. But again,
Oh shit! I'm on the wrong one.
Injury, and I guess you always have to say that, even though they have dug themselves this hole, I firmly believe.
Good job.
That at the end
Gotta
of the
get
day,
them off the
Cincinnati's
field.
gonna be right there, and one of the teams to beat the AFC.
Yeah, you mentioned the calf. This is the first training camp where he was healthy in 3 years. Remember, he had that crazy appendix and can't miss some time a couple of years ago, in addition to, of course, the ACL his rookie year and the wrist surgery that, as Didi mentioned earlier, still trying to get his full range of motion back. Probably needs a full year for that to happen. But if Joe Burrow's healthy, this is as dangerous a team as there is in the NFL. One of the few teams that has been able to dethrone Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City as they did it and went to the Super Bowl in 2021. Chase Brown taking on tacklers.
All right, 3rd and long here. Get him off the field. Get him off the field.
Element that he brings to this ground game, or if they can get the running game going, Arch, consistently with this offense.
Well, they've been playing with a lot more 2 tight end sets this year. They've always been
Yeah, Jed's not
wide
good.
receiver football team as their primary formation, but this year they're in the top 5 in terms of using multiple tight ends. And if they can get that ground game going, what that does,
3rd and 7.
it makes you decide what you want to do. You want to try to stop the run against 2 tight end sets, or keep your defensive backs back to play the pass. That's the cat and mouse game. They get the ground game going.
Take a timeout here.
Those one-on-ones for Chase and Higgins.
So the play clock winding down. Cincinnati able to take a timeout.
We got one timeout left, huh?
The penalty is that stops the clock with 5:37 left to play in this 4th quarter. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and the picturesque county that has predicted the winning presidential candidate for decades, followed by an all-new episode of Tracker and season premiere of The Equalizer tonight on CBS. Well, you won't get better weather than this time of year. Northeast Ohio, Cleveland waterfront, 21-6 temperatures, mid-60s. Zach Taylor has to feel a little bit better about his team after that 0-3 start. Some of the issues that we mentioned earlier, trying to put it all behind them as they shoot for what will be the 2nd straight win. On 3rd
All right.
and 7, give here to Brown.
See what we can do here offensively.
Short of the first down, more on the tackle.
But still, you think about the special teams miscues in this game. It's worth 11 points here, right? 7 for Cincinnati. And then what? 4 for Cleveland. This should be, what, a 14-10 ball game? A 1-score game? But you can't make these mistakes on special teams and expect to just not have it be anything. If the Browns get a good picture, they trade down. Not in this year's draft. This year's draft's not that good. Just keep whatever pick you have. Darden with a good return here. Gets to the 50. Good field position. The Browns want to come back here. They're going to need a quick score.
After a 15-yard return.
They're going to need a quick score here.
So Kevin Stefanski, consider what this staff has been able to accomplish. Go back to his rookie year here, 2020, got them their first playoff win in 26 years. But interestingly, this is what their offensive staff looked like last year. Then the change, 5 key assistant changes. Ken Dorsey taking over the offense for Alex Van Pelt. A little bit of embarrassment.
Amari's got 4 catches and 66 yards and a touchdown. Good for Amari.
They had run in previous years. And that's been a big part of the story. Now Watson goes down with what appears to be a significant Achilles injury. Everything that they're trying to navigate here in Cleveland to get this offense.
You cannot release that early. Yeah. The kid's flustered. The kid is flustered.
If they start to again.
He just gets too easily flustered for me. That's why I can't really get into the DTR stuff.
Be surprised.
He just gets, it's not even like flustered as in like he backpedals on pressure. It's just, he just seems to be easily shaken out of his zone here. Because he threw that interception. I don't think mentally he's like recovered yet. He doesn't have the greatest composure in the world. Ooh, I think he has some talent there, but the composure is just not there.
Who is another really mobile quarterback. They love what he can do with his legs. As they try to have to deal now with more falling dominoes now with the injury to Watson. 3rd and 7 as we come up on 4 minutes left. This pass over the
Yeah, he's flustered. He's completely flustered. That's a wrap. Yeah, he's flustered. He looks flustered. That's the thing with him. One thing goes downhill and it just drops quickly for him. It can't drop that fast for him. He's got to be more sturdy than that. Mentally. He pressed. I mean, this looks like Milroe at the end of the Alabama game where he just starts pressing, right? There's a dig there. It's not open. I think he tries to throw some more. Moore's not even fucking paying attention.
Out for Judy coming underneath. They call that a dagger route.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess you always have to think the ball is coming to you, but that ball never goes, hardly ever goes to the clear out route. So again, just not sure exactly what Dorian Thompson-Robinson was thinking or throwing to on that route.
He's flustered. That's why I think it is. He's flustered. Well, we're going to see Jameis next week. We'll see what that looks like. Well, yeah, the kid looked flustered. He's easily flustered, man. I think that's the problem. He's talented. He can run really fast. There's some intriguing stuff you can do with him. But until he figures out how to not domino in his own mind, like he's not going to be able to be an NFL quarterback because he just gets flustered way too frequently, way too easily. And it leads into this, like right here. He was fine until he threw that tip ball interception. Then he threw the tip ball interception and everything mentally just went down. He started patting the ball. He started hesitating to throw. All of the progress you saw, he just started to backslide. He's got to be stronger than that up here. That's what I worry about with DTR. I don't think they fighting like hell on defense though. But I think that's a huge problem for him. All right, we'll see how he bounces back. He's bounced back before, like in the Pittsburgh game where he threw the interception, had his best drive of the game. But he's also done this a lot where like he makes one mistake and he can't get out of his own head about it. And it makes him make so many more mistakes.
Post-game show coming up next.
Sure, not a lot of human beings on the planet that can.
Is what now? Jerry Judy's upset. I bet that adds into it, right? Now he has to manage that in the huddle.
He is used to being, but still a guy that you've got to deal with up front.
Chase Brown picks up a yard here. The other thing with Garrett, he's been such a quiet guy in his career, but you've seen an evolution of him as a leader. Talked about some of the bad body language that he didn't like from some of the skill position guys as they came off the field last week in Philly, got into their face a little bit in practice. They're going to need a whole lot more where that came from now with the Watson injury and the psychological hurdle. So this Cleveland team is going to fall to 1-6.
Spiro, Miles' feet are both in pain. His Achilles, his thigh. One of the things that he had said is that he would have thought that just the fact that he is going out there, that he is putting off surgery, that this matters so much to him, that alone would be
He's putting off surgery?
Maybe that's not it. And so that's why we've seen him be more vocal, as you just attested to.
One of the all-timers, NFL's reigning defensive player of the year. Here's McPherson.
Hey, he missed it.
Kick. This is going to sail wide right. Remember, McPherson had a chance late in that wild shootout against the Ravens. Week 5 was the potential game-winning field goal.
Jameis is in.
So we will get another quarterback change. Jameis Winston is going to get a shot.
Can you just put him in? I thought he had to be injured in order for you to put him in. I guess they're just going to say DTR is injured.
They made Thompson Robinson the backup quarterback for this game, presumably because maybe he'd get an opportunity if Deshaun Watson struggled. He doesn't play very well in this game, granted, without a week of practice. So now you have Jameis Winston as a quarterback. Who does Kevin Stefanski and this staff think is the guy to get them through the rest of this season?
Yeah, you had to put somebody else in. Do we need a quarterback coach? The quarterback coach ain't going to change what DTR just did. I mean, DTR is well coached. You saw when he came out there, he had the right coaching now, and then he makes a mistake and he just spirals. That's on him. That's on DTR. DTR's got to be tougher than that.
Watson went down with the injury in the second quarter. And here he is. Winston steps up, pass batted down at the line of scrimmage by Hendrickson. And got his left hand on the football. Winston, the former #1 overall pick, of course, came into the league with the Buccaneers in 2015, Pro Bowler, that rookie season. Guy Archer's led the NFL in passing. We know about all the turnover issues he's had in his career.
Oh, he'll throw some touchdowns now, but he just had to figure out a way to not throw the interceptions.
Winston underneath here to Njoku. Gang tackle at around the 42, maybe the 43. So maybe he kind of feels like potentially a little audition here at the end of the game for Winston. And Aditi telling us that Dorian Thompson-Robinson was actually having his hand looked at.
Yeah, okay. I'm about to say he has to have an injury for Jameis to be in the game right now.
This quarterback change late.
Good throw.
Winston slinging it completes. Jerry Jeudy with his first target today, incredibly. That's a pickup of 17. But this may be where the injury happened right there. Hard hit at the end of that run back on the pick by Geno Stone. Athletic trainers taking a closer look at him on the sidelines. A little bit of a low pass from Winston. Again, looking in the direction of Jeudy, and it's incomplete. Get you another NFL Today update. Back to New York and Matt.
Okay, back and forth in Green Bay. Brandon McManus signed on Wednesday, comes in, handles the low snap, and knocks it through for the 45-yard field goal. Green Bay wins 24-22 over the Houston Texans. Back to you guys.
Man, what a win for the Packers. Here in Cleveland, 21-6. With 2:42 left to play in this fourth quarter. Winston working from the Cincinnati 38 pocket.
Got it. Oh, he got to catch it.
Can pass, but Judy couldn't squeeze it. Incomplete.
Got to catch it. I mean, it's right there. He gets back to it, gets his eyes right where he needs to.
The Browns have been dealing with, this year.
Marshall was not deflected and almost.
Yeah, nah, he's got it. That's a drop. That is a plain Jane drop.
Well, I mean, that shouldn't affect the concentration. They've struggled, whether it was Deshaun Watson or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They only threw, between the two quarterbacks, 5 passes over 10 yards in this game. And so at least you see Winston. I know there's not
penalties.
Playing some soft coverages from Cincinnati, but
False start. Offense, number 71 and number 79. It's a 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Sure, they've got to find a way this season, next game. How do you throw the ball down the field? How do you generate some chunk yards in the passing game?
Arch, how do you clean up these penalties? They're 10th. It's been as big a part of the story as anything else with this Cleveland offense.
I asked for likes during this game.
Number 1 wide receiver spot after the trade of Amari Cooper, and his confidence just is nowhere near where it has to be. Winston
Got it.
Keeping the play alive, it completes.
All right, first down.
Today, Cedric Tillman, for their most effective wide, he picks up 25.
Yeah, remember, Jameis couldn't be just brought in right after the Watson injury. He has to be the only quarterback available to play. That's a crazy decision. I mean, it almost worked out, but yeah. Ooh, Bell and Geno Stone? Or is that, yeah. That's both their safeties.
He almost threaded this ball, and I think Tillman had a chance to catch it.
It was deflected.
Just got tipped.
Tillman got to have better concentration than that, man.
Throw to try to split the safeties, and hopefully both of those players are going to be okay.
Stallin had the pick earlier. He is in a world of pain. Von Bell, second stint back in Cincinnati, rejoining them in free agency after last season. Just hate to see this. Just as the Cincinnati defense, Archer, starting to get healthy again. You got 2 starters now being looked at on the field. And the obvious concern from their defensive coordinator, Bill Anarumo, will step aside.
I mean, Jameis looks good in this drive so far. It's pretty garbage time. Like, kind of garbage time, but not. You're only down by 2 scores. So if you score a touchdown here, like, you could get a onside kick and then have a slight chance here to make a comeback. But yeah, it's pretty much garbage time here. So I don't know how seriously to take what we're seeing in this drive. But yeah, I mean, Jameis is probably going to start next week, right? I think some of the stuff with DTR, the mental stuff is really the problem with it, right? Now, maybe they might want to give DTR a full week of practice. I would think you would want to give DTR, like, if you want to go to him, see what Jameis can do for these 2 games, get into the bye week, and then if you want to start DTR the rest of the season, you give him the bye week and a week of prep before you play him, so you can really see, like, hey, did he fall apart there just because of the situation, or did he fall apart because it's kind of just like, it's kind of a part of what goes on with him.
Aren't you wearing the ton of these collisions as a safety? You see that? See the lower body of Bell just run into that lower leg, the right leg of Stone.
Yeah, it's a nasty collision there.
Looks like they may be bringing out an air cast. My goodness.
That's an awful result.
Injury timeout continues. We'll take another break.
That's an awful result. Did somebody break their knee?
Unexpected, exciting, as with 4 must-watch.
Yeah, we'll see.
First up, it's Georgie and Mandy's.
Yeah, I would imagine these next 2 weeks are going to be Jameis with the rock. And then depending on how Jameis does, you'll put in DTR after that, after you give him some time to go in there. That only makes sense. Ugh.
They put him in an air cast arch. Just awful sight. Cart has come out on a day that we saw Deshaun Watson be carted off the field with an Achilles injury at the end of the first half. And we just hope for the best for Geno Stone. A really important piece on the back end of the Cincinnati defense.
Yeah, it really is. And again, you know, both he and Von Bell going up for the football, and you don't expect on a play like that to come down with an injury and have yourself on a cart.
I keep saying, blow this thing up. Too many heads touch this pie to have the way to find a comment. What the fuck are you talking about? All right.
So Stone, who just a couple of minutes ago had a pick, carted off the field and trying to get an update on his status. There's Jordan Battle, who set the play a number of steps, not a ton, but he's gotten some run this season. Now, depending on what that severity is on the Stone injury, you start to think about there's not a lot of veteran experience as backup safeties for the Cincinnati defense. Winston's got fired to the end zone and incomplete for Judy. And it will be 3rd and 10. See if they get one more playoff here before the 2-minute warning. Again, just as the Cincinnati defense was starting to get healthy, those injuries to their defensive front, and now they got to worry about Stone, one of their key cogs in that safety spot. Jameis Winston on in relief of Thompson Robinson.
Jot there to Moore. It's executing the red zone here. 2-minute warning. Yeah, weird game. Watson goes like 13 of 15 to start the game and then really starts playing well on his last drive. Then he tears his Achilles, possibly. DTR comes in, looks good on the immediate. Browns score a touchdown. First couple of drives with DTR, I thought were fine, like look good. You know, you weren't scoring on them or getting as far as you wanted to, but he was moving the ball, and that's more than what this Browns offense had done all season. And then he throws that interception because it was like a tip ball off Cedric Tillman, and it just completely fucks him up for the rest of this game. Like, he just was not able to recover from throwing that interception. For whatever reason, that interception just took him out. And then Jameis gets in, might score. Browns might be within one score with 2 minutes left in this game with a possible onside situation, which we have seen this happen in this stadium before. Weird game. Completely weird game. I agree.
So the crowd is headed for the exits here, but I tell you what, 1:59 left. If Cleveland can somehow score quick here, Archie Asuni kicked the extra point to keep it to a one-score game. They're out of timeouts. Jameis Winston on for the injured Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who replaced Deshaun Watson. DTR with a finger injury, according to Aditi. Winston to the end zone and incomplete. Njoku, the intended receiver, deflected again, and it will be 2nd and goal.
They play next week. Baltimore. They play Baltimore next week. They play Baltimore next week. Is that who we play next week?
Jameis Winston, last 4 years with the New Orleans Saints, initially as the backup to Drew Brees, eventually became the starter there before he signed his 1-year deal in the offseason to back up Deshaun Watson here. And guess who? It's Trent.
You got to wonder, like, what was the decision to go with DTR as the backup versus Winston, and if that was the right choice to make here. Now that you're gonna see Winston and DTR, like now. Hold on. Oh, good catch, David Njoku. All right, go for 2.
This is sheer athleticism from one of the most physical specimens in the NFL.
He's up and both feet down. Boy, that's a great catch. And hey, onside kick. I tell you what, it's not a high likelihood, but you get the onside kick, and Spiro looks like they're going for 2 here.
Boys, this is a little bit of surprise. You kick the extra point, you at least maintain a chance. Give yourself some hope, but they're going to roll the dice and just go for it right here.
Yeah.
Got to get it anyway. Winston slinging it, and they convert. Tillman.
All right. See, we get here with the onside.
Leaving the door open. 7-point game with 1:27 left.
Well, there's a theory that when you need to go, you're down 2, and you're gonna have to go for 2. The theory is you go for it on the first touchdown in case you need you.
Yeah, it always makes sense to go for it on the first touchdown when like the team is in bullshit. Like the Cincinnati Bengals aren't super focused right now. But if the Browns get an onside kick, get a touchdown, have a chance to tie the game on the play, then they're going to be super focused. Like it's your best chance to get on the first one.
Change to the onside kick rules. You got to declare to the officials. And you look now through the recent history of the Cleveland Browns. They have gone 131 games since their last successful onside kick. Almost 8 years to the day, Arch. October the 16th of 2016.
Boy, special teams has cost you 11 fucking points in this game. If they could bail you out here, that'd be great. They kind of owe it to you.
Can erase all of that if they can come up with a special onside kick right here. Hopkins, the 11th year kicker, has
Call
been in this
timeout.
situation a ton of times in his career. Now Zach Taylor maybe taking a little snapshot of things, and it's going to take his last time out.
There's just not a lot of things and variations that you can do on the onside kick anymore. It really made it so that it is very difficult. You can't overload one side like they used to avoid a lot of those collisions that you used to have. Really makes it tough. And really they've eliminated the element of surprise on an onside kick. Not that this is a surprise situation, but just not a lot you can do.
Just wonder what else Kevin Stefanski can get dumped on his plate. A Watson struggles, now a Watson injury today. Nick Chubb returns, trying to put all these pieces together. Looking for some late game magic here from his kicker, Dustin Hopkins. By the way, Dede has updated us. Geno Stone, it is a left tibia, and he has been declared out. No surprise there. Hopkins, little misdirection. Looking for that high bounce. Doesn't quite get it. And Gesicki easily fields for Cincinnati.
He'll take a knee and end this game. Well, a lot to talk about here in the post game. A lot to talk about.
Joe Burrow's going to take a knee, and the Cincinnati Bengals 0-3 start. All those one-score defeats that we mentioned.
1-6. 1-6. We're 3 games back from fucking second place. We're third place right now. It's atrocious. Atrocious. All right, well, the Browns just finished their game versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And there's a lot to take away from this. Obviously, I talked about this in an earlier video. Deshaun Watson tears his Achilles in this game. Likely out for the rest of the year. Probably out for a chunk of next year as well. It looked like one of the more serious varieties of Achilles injuries. And it's just a lot to ask for Watson to try to come back from that at the start of next season. So we'll see what his future looks like. But we know now for the rest of the season, the Browns are likely to have to play other quarterbacks, right? I'm only using allegedly and possibly because we haven't got the official report that he has a torn Achilles. But it's very likely that he has a torn Achilles at this point. And I would be surprised if we didn't hear otherwise. Now let's talk about this game into 3 parts. What went wrong in this game? Well, the Browns lost this game 21-14. That's what the box score is going to say. Here's what the true story about this game is. The Browns special teams unit in this game cost the Browns about 11 points of difference. They gave up a kick return touchdown that they absolutely shouldn't have to start this game. So that's 7 points there. They missed a under 50-yard field goal, which was supposed to go in. That's 3 points right there. And then Dustin Hopkins misses an extra point. Now, the Browns eventually get that extra point back at the end of this game when they convert a 2-point conversion. So maybe you want to say they cost them 10 points instead of 11 because they ended up getting back the 2-point conversion. And if the Browns never missed that extra point, they would have never needed to go for the 2-point conversion. So let's say and call it even at about 10 points here, the Browns that the Browns special teams cost this team. Well, the score of this game was 21-14. That's the difference of the game right there. You don't give up a touchdown to start the game. The way this defense was playing, especially at the start of the game, you would have been in a beautiful position to win this football game here. The way that this defense played for most of the game, the defense only gave up 14 points here. Like, you can be mad that they gave up 14 in the third quarter, but let's be real here. The defense showed up in a big way for most of this game, pretty much all this game. The offense, it was up and down. To be fair to Deshaun Watson, I thought that he was in the middle of his best drive this season when he went down with the Achilles injury. He was 15 of 17. Now, before that drive, he had a high completion percentage, but it was for 60 yards, so it wasn't too impressive. He started moving the ball downfield and getting chunks on that last drive that he was in, unfortunately, right before the end of the half. He was 15 of 17, 128, I think in the middle of his best drive of the season, tears his Achilles. DTR comes in and immediately throws one of the better balls that we've seen all year. Beautiful back shoulder ball to Cedric Tillman that forces a pass interference call, which I thought was a really good throw by DTR. And then the Browns score on a Nick Chubb touchdown, which brought the game to about 6-7. Obviously, Dustin Hopkins misses the field goal, extra point, my bad, and you go 6-7 instead of 7-7. We got to have a conversation about Dustin Hopkins at the end of this video because I think it's time for him to go. As good as he's kicked for this team, I've given him a long leash, but I think it's about time for us to look at other options here because he's been bad. But we'll have that conversation at the end of this video. Then the DTR came in, and I thought the first 2 drives that DTR had coming out of halftime, right? Let me double check it, right? So they went out on downs on an 8-play, 57-yard drive, and then the second drive they had, DTR throws an interception. After this interception, DTR played like absolute garbage for the rest of the game. The offense played like absolute garbage. Like DTR was bad. He had that drive at the end of the half, And then he had that drive to start the second quarter where I thought he made some plays there. They were doing some RPO stuff that I thought was interesting. And then they go out on downs. I think it was a missed throw, right? Was it? Yeah, the missed throw to Nick Chubb. That turns into an interception to Cedric Tillman. And then the kid was in his head for the rest of the game. This is an unfortunate pattern I've recognized with DTR. He does not have that ability to stop the avalanche, right? When it gets bad, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse with him. He snowballs. Some guys, and look, the quarterbacks that are able to make it in the NFL and play long careers, they're not going to be guys who let these things avalanche as visibly as DTR lets these things avalanche. He has to get a hold of that. He has some talent there. He's a great athlete, had one of the most explosive plays of the Browns season in this game on a keeper. Like, there's talent there for DTR. But right here, he's got to stop the snowballing. It reminds me of JOK, right? Where in JOK's second year, he had this tendency where he would guess something, it would be wrong, and because he made that mistake, he would mess up and be hesitant the whole rest of the game. That's exactly what you saw with DTR. After he made that mistake, right, missed Nick Chubb, he was in his head, he threw an interception, and then he kept making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. He was hesitant to throw the ball. He's starting to try to spin out of these sacks when he doesn't have to. He's not making quick decisions. And then he throws an interception, throwing I don't know what on a dagger concept. And then he gets hurt. He hurt his hand. And Jameis Winston comes in. And Jameis Winston leads. What was the best drive of this game? Yeah, I got to go back. Let me see the missed field goal drive. Where did they start from on the missed field goal? 10 plays, 32 yards, missed field goal. The touchdown drive was 12 plays, 72 yards. So the touchdown drive at the end of the half was actually better, but still the second best drive of the game. 12 plays, 60 yards in a few minutes here for the Browns offense. So Jameis comes in, looks fine. You start to wonder, like, why wasn't Jameis the backup if this is what DTR was looking like, or did they not anticipate that he would do this? Did they think he was over it? I don't know. But Jameis likely going to start next week. We'll see what the offense looks like. And, like, the thing with Deshaun being out is that you do get to evaluate now the offense, because now you cannot blanket blame things on the bad quarterback play, right? Because you could look at the offensive line play and say, hey, man, the quarterback play seems to be playing a part of this. You could look at the bad wide receiver play and look at it and say, hey, the quarterback play seems to be contributing to this. Now that you're switching quarterbacks in and out, you're going to see, are there going to be some constants to what's going on in the offense? Is it going to consistently be the offensive line, or is it going to consistently be the wide receiving core? We'll see. With Jameis Winston likely in for next week when the Browns take on, what team do they take on next week? I believe it's Baltimore. It is Baltimore. So, hey, man, world's coming in fast. I would not start DTR versus Baltimore. So that's really what it was for the Browns offense. Nick Chubb looked like a guy coming back from a year's worth of injury. That's what Nick Chubb looked like in this game. There were some flashes where he started to look like the old Nick Chubb, but he looked like a dude who was injured and coming back for the first time. Only averaged 2 yards a carry, got 11 carries in this game. I think he'll look better in his second game back. I think that a lot of this was just Russ being knocked off and just Nick Chubb getting used to getting hit again. He just seemed more hesitant as a runner than I've ever seen him, and I think that will improve itself as time goes on. So that's what Nick Chubb looked like in this game. The leading wide receiver, Cedric Tillman. Thought Cedric Tillman had a solid game in this one. He was one of the guys that DTR had a lot of chemistry with. 12 targets in this one. David Njoku, 14 targets in this game. Big safety blanket game, especially in the second half for David Njoku. I thought David had a strong second half to this game. Jordan Atkins, I thought, played well. Jerry Jeudy was visibly frustrated in this one. Only got 5 targets, only got 1 reception here for 18 yards in the game, and I believe that came when Jameis was the quarterback. So we're talking about 3 quarterbacks into this game. Jerry Jeudy gets a target. I would imagine that's very frustrating, especially when They traded Amari Cooper the week before. You're anticipating you're the number one receiver. Why aren't you getting the ball? That makes a ton of sense to be upset about. Still don't want them to show it that visibly because it becomes a thing. We'll see what they say in the post-game pressers about it. But Jerry Jeudy visibly frustrated. Look, everybody's visibly frustrated with this Browns offense. But that's really the story of this game. Browns offense kind of looked the same as it always does. Very unproductive, but few and far scoring drives in between each other. And I think the thing that really hurt the Browns in this game, special teams performance. Cost you about 10 points, maybe 11 points if you want to call the raw points, but 10 points effectively. This special teams unit cost you. I think you win this game if special teams has a good game. And we talk about it, complementary football. The Browns not really great at it. When the offense is playing well, the few drives this year that's happened, the defense doesn't support them. And then when the defense is playing well, sometimes it's the special teams not supporting them. We can't get two of these units on the same page at the same time, and it's costing us games, multiple games. Penalties were another massive thing in this game, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Browns had like 6. It reminded me of week 1. We had like a bunch of illegal procedure penalties. We had just a bunch of procedural penalties, illegal man downfield, intentional grounding. All of the one play we had an intentional grounding and illegal touching penalty. Just the penalties, it's far too late into this season to continue to have this issue with penalties. Whatever is going on between Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey that is making it difficult to get these guys set offensively has to be resolved. It has to get resolved. Like, this is looking bad for both of these dudes. It doesn't look good for Kevin Stefanski. It doesn't look good for Ken Dorsey. And now that Deshaun Watson's not out there, these guys are going to get the brunt of the blame, and rightfully so, for how this offense looks going forward, because a lot of people were willing and understanding about Deshaun's not playing well at all. He's not seeing things. We don't know if it's the offense's fault. Well, now, if the same things are happening with Jameis Winston and the same things are happening with DTR, well, you got to solve for X there. What's the problem? It's going to be the coach. It's going to be the offensive coordinator. Obviously, they would get some blame in this situation. A lot of different ways to look at it, but the Browns are a 1-6 team, and they're not like a 1-6 team that doesn't look like a 1-6 team. They're a 1-6 team that, quite frankly, has earned that record, right? They have had multiple chances to win these games. Let me go through the Browns schedule real quick about the games that they have played in. Now, Dallas, they got their ass beat against Dallas. They weren't winning that game. I'll give you that one. Jacksonville, they almost lost that one. They came back, made a play last minute. Jacksonville choked that one away before you did. The New York Giants game, you had 3 straight possessions offensively where you were only down a touchdown, where you had a chance to take the lead or tie. Did not get it done. The Raiders, same exact situation against the Raiders. The Commanders game, I mean, we've talked about it at large. One of the more poor performances that you've seen from a quarterback in that game. And then the Eagles game, you had a chance to win that. And I would argue this Bengals game, if you get a better showing offense from your special teams, you have a chance to win that. A competent football team, a competent team this year through this stretch would be what? 3, 4, 5-2. And that doesn't mean you're good. That just means with how these games played out, if the Browns were a competent bunch, they would be 5-2. Right now, they're incompetent. That falls on coaching. That falls on the players. That falls on the general manager. This team is incompetent. They have earned a 1-6 position so far in this season. And the question is, what kind of team are they going to be for the rest of the season? Because if Deshaun Watson is playing bad, that's one thing. People are going to blame Deshaun. A lot of people don't like Deshaun, so that's going to fly. But now that Deshaun Watson's not out there anymore, this microscope is going to get a lot tighter on Kevin, a lot tighter on Ken Dorsey, and a lot tighter on Andrew Berry. Because say what you want about anything else going on with this team, the one thing you could describe this team as to start the year, incompetent. Because again, a competent team is 5-2 in this stretch. A competent team gets one of those drives versus the Giants. A competent team finishes one of those drives against the Raiders. A competent team finishes the scoring drive against the Eagles. And a competent team doesn't give up 10 points on special teams. Bubba Ventrone, not excused from this either. The only person I'm like, it's not their fault this week, Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz, good job. Only gave up 14 points to a Bengals offense that scored like 35 against Baltimore a couple weeks ago. I'm fine with Jim Schwartz. Everybody else, though, real questions about the competency level here, because this football team, for a team that's been coached by the same guy since 2020, they look incompetent right now. That can't be the case. They got to be competent for the rest of this season. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. What y'all arguing about Deshaun still? It is the most pointless argument to have right now about Deshaun Watson. Like, I hope people understand that arguing about Deshaun Watson right now is the most pointless thing that you could do. Yeah, I just want to see this team play competent, good football. I'm tired of watching this team just drop duds all the time, man. Like, it just stinks watching them. Like, and the worst thing is, I've never felt like this since starting this channel in 2018, talking about the Browns. I never seen them have a losing record like this and didn't believe in my head that they were better than this, right? Like, I always thought, even in 2018 when they were struggling, I'm like, I thought they were better than this. In 2019 when they struggled, I had a firm belief that they were better than what they were allowing their record to be. The same thing in 2021. I don't know if this team is better than this right now, because they've had opportunities to be better than this. Oh, Dustin Hopkins? Yeah, let me get on that. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I almost got out of here without talking about Dustin Hopkins. A conversation needs to be had, because it's not just this game that he's played poorly in or missed a field goal or extra point. It's been multiple games that he's missed an extra point, missed a field goal in. Look, the Browns signed him to a multi-year extension after what he did last year, and I thought that was pretty justified because Dustin Hopkins played very well. But the truth is that he's not playing well anymore. Now, the question is, do you stick with this? Is there any harm in sticking with this? Or do you start looking for other guys that you would like to try out? I'm under the belief that I would like to start trying out other guys, because what's the worst that guy? Like, you could just put Dustin Hopkins on as a backup or something like that and just kick other guys. I don't know. I think that it's time to start considering other options there, because also Dustin Hopkins, like, made the mistake on the kickoff, right? Didn't kick it off where the coverage was, and that's partly why the kickoff return happened. So, like, it's not like the kickoff return touchdown was not his fault either. He makes a mistake on that. The same thing happens on the field goal. Like, it's just, there's been a lot of mistakes from the kicker, and we got to start having a conversation of if we want to move on or not. I think it's time to move on. I think there's been enough mistakes made that it's time to move on. You know, he's just looking like Dustin Hopkins again, right? Like, I think he just had a crazy freak year with Cleveland last year, but now he looks like Dustin Hopkins. You know, I'm telling you right now, I don't think Mike Vrabel fixes your situation here. Like, Mike Vrabel, he petered out like this in Tennessee too. Like, there's a reason Mike Vrabel's allowed to be a special assistant to your team right now, because he got fired from Tennessee. Mike Vrabel's the only guy who almost gave up 300 yards passing to Deshaun Watson as a Cleveland Brown. Like, I don't get I get why people are excited about Mike Vrabel because he's a big name, but really think about it. It's just a change. Someone asks, why not play Jameis? Another thing that's popped up, some people have asked this, hey, why did the Browns put in Jameis Winston earlier? It's important to note that you couldn't just simply put Jameis Winston into the game. He was the emergency quarterback, which means you have to be out of eligible quarterbacks in order for Jameis Winston to play. If that is the situation, then Jameis Winston can play. But it's not like it just makes it so Jameis is third on the depth chart and you could put him in whenever you feel like is necessary. Everybody has to be hurt, and then you play your emergency quarterback. The reason Jameis was able to get into the game this week was because Deshaun got hurt, and then DTR got hurt, so Jameis could finish the game. But if DTR did not get hurt, then DTR would have had to finish the game. So that's why Jameis is able to play. I know a lot of people had that question. That's why that was the case. Oh, yeah. I would also be remiss if I did not mention that Jedrick Wills, I believe, had an awful game after having a pretty decent one in his first return game back. There were just way too many moments where you're just wondering what is it that Jed Wills is supposed to do. And I had this fear about Jed Wills, is that Jed Wills seems like the kind of player you just can't have on a bad team. Because if you're playing well and you're 3 games above 500, Jed's going to be motivated. Jed's going to be locked in. But if your team stinks, and the Browns do stink at this point, oh boy, I'm worried about what Jed Wills is going to look like. Like, it's at the point where I'm like, hey man, James Hudson can't be worse. Like, that's how bad Jed Wills was in this game. I thought the rest of the offensive line held up pretty fine, but like Jed specifically just had some blunders in this game where it's just, you have to wonder, like, hey, man, has he regressed to a point where he can continue to be out there? Serious question here. Now, if you want to debate whether Jameis should have been an emergency quarterback or not, I think that's a fair debate to have, right? I don't know what DTR showed behind the scenes to make him do that. I don't know what the thought process was. I know some people are going to think that the thought process was that it would get Watson booed less if Jameis wasn't out there, but I think that's not a great theory because the Browns fans in attendance probably weren't aware who was the emergency backup quarterback or who's active, who's not. And it wouldn't have changed the fact that fans would have booed Watson regardless because they're booing Watson, not like wanting somebody else to play. So I don't think that's why they didn't put Winston as the emergency backup quarterback. I think this might have been like they believed in DTR and they thought the DTR could show them something in case that Watson went out, or maybe they had a package of plays in that they were going to run DTR out there with in the second half of this game, but then Watson tore his Achilles and that kind of blew all that up. I don't know. Something went into that decision. They will never tell us the information necessary to really know why they did it, but there was something that went into that decision. You want to criticize that decision, that's fine, but the Browns just couldn't simply put Winston in after they made him the emergency quarterback, is my point. All right, y'all. We'll see what happens next week. We'll see if the offense can put up points next week with Winston probably starting at quarterback. That's going to be it. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.